Chapter 485. The time ratio is 10:1. The cultivator has 1 year to defeat the Crystal Guardian. Only the power of the god of war is allowed. The familiar voice entered his ears, but Lin Feng did not hear it at all. These were not important to him. What was important was, there was a very familiar feeling here, a feeling that made his heart beat faster. The starry sky seemed to be very close to him, so close that he could touch it with his hands. That feeling was very strange, like his heart was throbbing. The star power is calling me. Lin Feng closed his eyes and covered his chest with his right hand. At this time, the original star power in his human soul, which had been strengthened by 4 times, was restless. The star power here was very active, and he could feel the looming brilliance. It made his heart beat faster, as if something was calling him. A familiar feeling, just like when he was bestowed with the gift. Lin Feng's eyes were bright, and the corners of his mouth curved into a bright smile. Wasn't astral energy the thing he lacked the most right now? It was almost to the point of extreme desire. But now he was very close to making his dream come true, just like the distance between him and the starry sky. Looking into the distance, Lin Feng could see many words on the red crystal wall. His eyes were shining and Lin Feng's heart moved. In an instant, like a gust of wind, Lin Feng arrived in front of the crystal wall. His eyes were burning with excitement. Lin Feng's chest rose and fell slightly. The star-gathering art. Lin Feng could not hide his joy. The star-gathering art that he had been looking forward to was right in front of him. Looking at the words, which were full of fierceness and madness, Lin Feng clenched his right fist. He did not expect that he would achieve his goal after entering the green smoke secret realm so quickly. It was simply effortless to obtain it. Staring at the crystal wall, Lin Feng savored every word carefully. It was as if he was admiring the most beautiful sculpture. Lin Feng concentrated, and his mind kept reflecting and comprehending. This is it, this is it. Lin Feng nodded lightly, his eyes sparkling. This was the star condensation technique that he had been searching for. Although he didn't know what its rank was, one thing was certain, and that was that it definitely surpassed the mystery sunflower star art of the human rank 6th grade. Since he had cultivated the enigmatic sunflower star art, he was able to see who was better and who was worse. The only imperfection was, it's the same as the previous cultivation realm, only a part of it. Lin Feng nodded. Just as he was about to continue watching, Lin Feng suddenly froze. His eyes instantly widened as he shook his head in disbelief. What's going on? Why can't I remember any of the mental mantras from the last cultivation state? Lin Feng was a little dazed, and his whole person fell into a strange state. It was as if something had been sealed off in his mind. His memories had mysteriously disappeared. The most frightening thing was that he had no idea. With his eidetic memory, even if he couldn't remember every word of the mental mantras clearly, he could at least remember 70% to 80% of them. However, right now, he couldn't even remember a few words, let alone a complete sentence. It felt as if a part of his memory had been forcefully dug out. It was extremely shocking. This cultivation realm is really not simple. Lin Feng's eyes sparkled as he exhaled deeply. Obviously, this was not a coincidence. Everything he had learned in the cultivation realm had been lost. But, fortunately, my strength didn't degrade. Lin Feng nodded. Although he felt a little uncomfortable, since he couldn't resist this kind of thing, he could only accept it. At least, he had benefited a lot from the previous cultivation realm, and that was enough. As for the rest, he threw them aside. Right now was the most important thing. First, I have to find the most suitable star condensation technique for me, and then start to comprehend the star power. Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly, and he immediately threw away his unhappiness. Right now, it was the best time for him to comprehend the star power. There were far better conditions than the outside world, and there were also powerful star condensation techniques of unknown grade. For him, the right time and place were all available. The only thing left was the combination of people. I don't think my aptitude is that bad. Lin Feng smiled. If he couldn't comprehend the star power there, he would have no hope of reaching the Star Lord level in his life. However, the probability, it was so small that it was hard to calculate. 2 hours later. 18 types of star condensation technique. Lin Feng nodded slowly. He walked around the Crystal Palace and found that the star condensation technique here was slightly more than the Orochi cultivation method in the previous cultivation realm. He had seen most of the star condensation technique. Although he hadn't practiced them yet, he understood some of their meanings. Once you understand, you will understand everything. Fundamentally speaking, every star condensation technique had a lot in common. They were all bridges for warriors to communicate with the mysterious universe. The real difference was the cultivation after comprehending the star power. Well, which one should I choose? Lin Feng frowned and hesitated. All that was left was to choose. He would choose the star condensation technique that was most suitable for him to comprehend and cultivate. Actually, they're all about the same. Anyway, I'll forget it after I leave here. There's no need to delve too deeply into it. Lin Feng smiled in relief. He felt helpless and a little casual. Right now, he only needed to comprehend the star power. Successfully comprehending the star power was like opening a door to the universe. After planting a mark in his soul, the door wouldn't close even if he forgot the star condensation techniques he had learned here in the end. That was more than enough. At most, he would use the mystic sunflower technique to cultivate star power in the future, which would be slower. At least he could comprehend and control the star power. That was the most important thing. Lin Feng closed his eyes and took a deep breath. The 18 sets of star condensation techniques kept appearing in his mind. They flashed through his mind like a movie, and the speed was getting faster and faster. Until, the scene paused. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. That's it. He spent 2 hours. He comprehended this nameless star condensation technique. Lin Feng wasn't in a hurry. He only started when he had completely comprehended it. There was enough time. Let's start. Lin Feng's face turned serious as the words appeared in his mind. Soon, he was immersed in it. In an instant, that was when he sensed the existence of the original star force. That astonishingly bright red light was shining and mysterious. It was 4 times bigger than the first time he had comprehended it. Because his strength had increased to the 3rd stage of the star sea level, the original star power had increased tremendously. And this step was as easy as pie. He had already grasped the technique when he first cultivated it. His consciousness merged with the soul sea. Lin Feng gently touched the original star power through the soul sea. He used that powerful force as the source to comprehend the star power. One step after another. The micro-realm. Lin Feng's consciousness was completely focused. It was a familiar step. Although it had been many days, he hadn't forgotten it at all. Lin Feng had successfully entered the micro-realm after just the first experiment. His consciousness used his body as the membrane and was independent of the Douling world. His senses were very strong, not only because the original star power had increased by 4 times, but also because the surrounding aura was extremely condensed. It was as if he had closed the distance between himself and the star power. Close at hand. The closer he got, the clearer the senses became. Lin Feng felt his heart tremble as his consciousness sensed the distant horizon. His human soul seemed to have touched that vague feeling. It was far away but close at hand. It's it, I feel it. Lin Feng's heart trembled. He felt a little excited, but he suppressed the feeling of joy. After all, he couldn't have any emotional fluctuations in the micro-realm. Otherwise, he would fail. The star power had never felt so clear before. It was as if he was standing in the vast star power. He didn't feel small anymore. Instead, there was a kind of pride, It was a power that was far beyond the Douling world. It was a kind of domineering power that looked down on the world. The 7 light spots flashed rapidly, their brightness varying from one another. They formed a curved line, low on the left, high on the right, and flat in the middle. Outside these 7 flashing light spots, there were many faint light spots. They seemed to be visible but also invisible. They were hazy like a dream. Instantly, swoosh! Lin Feng's head shook violently. It was as if a giant bear was roaring. He was completely dumbfounded. Extreme power blasted towards the top of his head. Only one of the 7 light spots was left. It was the brightest one at the top. It kept growing bigger and bigger. Everything in front of him disappeared. The 7 light spots no longer existed. The light in front of him kept growing bigger and bigger, completely blocking his other vision. It was like blood dissolving in water, like a small stone falling into a lake. Clang! Suddenly, it was as if the strings of a zither were plucked. The original star power shone crazily. The dazzling light spot was instantly filled with star power. It was like a flood breaking through a dam. In an instant, his human soul shook violently. The original star power exploded from the center. A faint light spot flashed, and extreme power came. What a strong suction! Lin Feng was shocked. The light spot absorbed all the star power in an instant, forming a huge spiral that kept spinning. Almost instantly, it condensed into a huge red light ball, full of energy. The light ball was not big. It was even smaller than the original red light spot. However, it was denser and more condensed. It was like a scattered energy at first. Now, it had become a concentrated body of energy. It was like the smallest mini-star. This is the star power ball. Lin Feng's eyes shone. He was shocked. The birth of the star power ball meant that the star power had taken root in his human soul and truly existed. It could recover and be self-sufficient. It could also cultivate and control. It would truly become his power. Success. Lin Feng smiled. He was not surprised, but he was in a good mood. The birth of the star power ball meant that he had finally become a StarCraft-level master. Keep up the good work. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 486. The red ball of astral power was spinning slowly. It looked like a mini-planet, but in fact, it was just a light spot with astral power gas spinning like a top. Astral power, level 1. Lin Feng's eyes sparkled. Without a doubt, this was the first level of astral power. Only when astral power reached level 4 would the ball of astral power become solid, but, however, it was still too early for him. Condensing into an astral power ball means that astral power has reached level 1. And when astral power reaches level 1, it means that I can really control astral power. Lin Feng's eyes were bright with joy. Being able to control astral power and unleash great power was a true StarCraft-level warrior. Now, he had finally reached this level. But I can practice astral power control at any time. Now that I have such a high-level star condensation art and such good conditions to feel astral power, if I don't practice it, that would be a waste of resources. Lin Feng smiled faintly. Naturally, he knew what was more important. Even though he had grasped the force of stars and reached the first level, his strength would increase greatly. But for now, it wasn't too important. Seize every minute. Lin Feng's eyes were shining. Practice. Keep practicing. Lin Feng let out a long sigh, and his expression became somewhat solemn. The excitement of feeling astral power had already dissipated. Reaping the results wasn't what he should be doing now. Star condensation art, Lin Feng said softly. Scenes of words appeared in his mind. He felt the familiar astral power and the shining light spot. It was as if he was close at hand, building a bridge. Astral power came from the distant starry sky endlessly, forming strands of red silk that wrapped around his body. The energy was very powerful, far more powerful than the qi of heaven and earth. Lin Feng held back his excitement and drove the astral power, absorbing it. It flowed through his meridians and strengthened his body. Feel, absorb and cultivate. Following a unique rhythm, he was immersed in the world of cultivation. Hiss! Hiss! The astral power wrapped around him tightly. Lin Feng closed his eyes, his expression solemn. His body was shrouded in red light, looking extremely holy and full of power. The astral power that was as thin as gossamer seeped into his body and entered his soul, spreading to every inch of his meridians, forming streams of astral power that continuously increased his cultivation level. This was the true cultivation method of a StarCraft-level being. It was strengthened by astral power. Lin Feng had opened the door to cultivation. In this place where the star force was concentrated, the speed of cultivation was extremely shocking. It only took him 18 days to improve his astral power from the first level to the second level. From the second level to the third level, it took him 37 days. When his astral power reached the third level, the ball of astral power in his human soul began to change. The red ball of light did not change in size, but the condensed red mist was becoming more and more solid, and more powerful. At first glance, it looked like a real celestial body without any clues. As a matter of fact, the star power ball was still spinning with the star power condensed by the core of light. It was just that the spinning speed was too fast, so there was this illusion. As for the war god's power, it had already broken through the level 3 bottleneck and reached the 4th level of the StarCraft level. In terms of body enhancement, the star-gathering art is not as good as the strategy of Emperor Shun? Lin Feng was slightly surprised, but then he understood. Firstly, the heaven and earth qi in the previous secret realm was 10 times denser. Secondly, the strategy of Emperor Shun was indeed a wondrous book, and the cultivation speed was extremely fast. In this secret realm, no matter how powerful the star-gathering art was, it was not as precious as the strategy of Emperor Shun. More importantly, the absorption speed of astral power here was far slower than the heaven and earth qi. If it was the outside world, the star-gathering art would definitely be faster. But only if the star-gathering art's level is enough. Lin Feng thought to himself, but he didn't think too much about it. After all, the cultivation of the StarCraft level required astral power. Otherwise, how could he reach the Starlord level without reaching the 10th level of astral power? Absorbing the heaven and earth qi had almost no effect on the growth of astral power. There are 65 days left, Lin Feng thought. I wonder if it's possible to reach the 3rd level of astral power and condense the astral power ball. Lin Feng murmured to himself, but he knew that the possibility was very small. However, for him, every minute here was extremely precious. Saving one day here was equivalent to saving countless days in the outside world. This was a matter of cultivation efficiency. The closer he was to the 4th level of astral power, the faster he would be able to reach the 4th level when he went out. Let's do it. Lin Feng's eyes were burning. He focused his mind and cultivated like crazy. Continue. In another cultivation realm. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Fierce Tiger laughed crazily. He lay on the ground and threw the halberd aside, his face full of excitement. Red astral light flashed on his body. He was no longer in the form of mist like before, but like light. 4th gear, this is the 4th gear. Fierce Tiger's eyes were glittering. In an instant, a bright light shot out in all directions. Fierce Tiger flipped his body and stood up. The sky piercer appeared in his hand like a shadow, bringing with it a sharp cold light. Pung! The red astral light covered the entire halberd. Fierce Tiger's eyes were filled with a sparkling luster. As his eyes focused, the red astral light disappeared. He could control it freely. Control! Fourth gear is only SOSO. With a cold smile on his face, Lai Hu's eyes were filled with confidence. Lulong, now you and I are on the same level. Fierce Tiger was in high spirits. We're both in the 5th level of astral power, and we're both in the 4th gear. Even if you want to beat me, it won't be so easy. Fierce Tiger held the halberd tightly and blocked. Even if you reach the 6th level of astral power, within 3 years, I will surpass you and become the strongest in the Lu family. I, Fierce Tiger, have a limitless future. Fierce Tiger's eyes were filled with flames. From the beginning to the end, his imaginary enemy was only Lulong Linfeng. Who was that? Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, 120 days had passed in the cultivation realm. Linfeng didn't know, but the other martial artists were already prepared. They defeated the Crystal Guardian and left the 2nd secret realm. They officially entered the 3rd secret realm, which was also the last secret realm of the Green Smoke secret realm. See, astral power entangled. Linfeng was wrapped in a faint red light and was completely immersed in cultivation. Even if his astral power level broke through, even if his strength increased, Linfeng didn't move at all. It was like a 100-year-old pine tree that was deeply rooted in this crystal palace. He had to seize all the time to cultivate. I'm not far from the 4th level. Linfeng closed his eyes and was filled with joy. It was as if he was about to see the end. The astral power ball in his body was completely condensed. There was almost no gap. From the gaseous state to the solid state, it was a huge breakthrough for the astral power ball. But there wasn't enough time. Clang! As if the strings of a zither were plucked, Linfeng opened his eyes. His cultivation was interrupted in an instant. It was a tremor from the bottom of his heart. This force was too powerful. There was no malice. It seemed to be a reminder and a hint. Swoosh! Linfeng stood up, his eyes shining brightly. Clang! There was another sound. It reverberated in his heart like a lingering sound. The artistic conception contained in it was fully expressed by the sound. Linfeng nodded slightly. He understood now. It seems the time for the 2nd secret realm is up. Linfeng pursed his lips and felt it was a pity. He was only halfway to the 4th level. There was still a long way to go. However, in terms of astral power, he was close to the 4th level. He would be able to break through in less than 10 days. But there was no other way. What should be ended had to end. Let's go out. Otherwise, we won't be able to enter the 3rd secret realm. Linfeng smiled faintly and didn't care too much. He had already gained a lot this time. Before entering the Green Smoke secret realm, he didn't expect his strength to improve so much. Only 40 days had passed in the real world, but his strength, it was more than 10 times stronger. We're both in the 4th level of the Star Sea state. If I fight against Ji Xia, I should be able to win easily. Linfeng clenched his right fist, feeling a sense of confidence. With bright eyes and a burning aura, Linfeng walked to the end of the Crystal Palace. There was a Crystal Guardian there. Storm Spear Art! Linfeng shouted. The berserk aura brought with it a gentle astral wind. The appearance of the black fog shrouded the 5-meter-tall guardian crystal person. Only 80% of his strength was used, but it was already very powerful. 8th level of the Star Sea state? Indeed, he was twice as strong as the first Crystal Guardian. But his strength had also increased by more than twice. When he was in the 3rd level of the Star Sea state, he could defeat the 7th level Crystal Guardian. Now that he was in the 4th level of the Star Sea state, it was naturally easy for him to deal with the 8th level Crystal Guardian. The power of the Nightmare Demon's spear exploded. The milky white Emperor Shun aura was filled with destructive power. The Eye of the Storm whizzed past. The terrifying aura exploded with the Nightmare Demon's spear. Break! Linfeng's eyes were as bright as the stars in the sky. The nightmare demon's spear drew a white trajectory like a meteor, instantly blooming with colors. Pung! The guardian crystal man shattered into pieces. Just one move and it was defeated. It couldn't resist at all. This kind of energy body that had no intelligence and only a physical body, even if its strength was twice as strong, was like a marionette that had no effect at all. Pah! Pah! The shattered crystal floated in front of him, and the faint red light slowly disappeared. The red light was dazzling. Lin Feng held the nightmare demon's spear with a calm expression. At this moment the surroundings were bright. His head seemed to ring as if it was gently bounced. In an instant, he left the cultivation realm. What appeared in front of him was a different world. Lin Feng's eyes slowly widened. He was curious and slightly surprised. This is the third secret realm? Second update continue. Thank you for your support, thank you for your support, thank you for your monthly votes and recommendation votes, thank you for always staying by my side. A small and loyal thank you. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 487. With a surprised expression, Lin Feng looked around curiously. He was surrounded by lush green mountains that stretched as far as the eye could see. They were tall and majestic, stretching endlessly. He was currently at the edge of a bamboo forest. Without turning back, he could feel the lush greenery and vitality in the bamboo forest. The third secret realm. I didn't expect the third secret realm to be like this. Lin Feng smiled faintly, feeling a little curious. For a moment, he didn't know what to do or where to go in the third secret realm. He couldn't help but shrug. In terms of spirit chi density, this place was much higher than the outside world. However, compared to the cultivation realm, it was a far cry. In terms of astral power, Lin Feng's eyes lit up, and his expression changed slightly. Just as he expected, the star fusion art that he had just learned in the cultivation realm was forgotten in an instant. It was as if he had never learned it at all. Although he was mentally prepared, Lin Feng still felt a little helpless when faced with it. Indeed, he couldn't bear to lose what he already had. Not to mention, what he needed most now was a high-grade star fusion art. In the cultivation realm, my astral power could reach the 4th level in less than 10 days. But here, if I use the mystic sunflower star mantra to cultivate, it will probably take me at least 2 months. Lin Feng sighed. The difference was obvious. But what could he do? Let's look around. Let's see what's so special about the third secret realm. Maybe there will be some surprises. Lin Feng's eyes lit up and he smiled. There was no need to think too much about what he had lost. The most important thing was to grasp the present. The third secret realm obviously had a big secret. Lin Feng flew up, maintaining 30% of his usual speed. This speed allowed him to maintain his combat state at all times to deal with all kinds of situations. He spread out his life spirit and sensed the surroundings. The spirit chi density here was about 3 times that of the outside world. Although it couldn't be compared to the cultivation realm, it was still quite rare. After passing through a mountain range, his vision suddenly opened up. There was a huge lake. The calm lake water looked very clear. There were mountains, rivers, and all kinds of forests. This place was no different from the outside world. For a moment, Lin Feng even suspected that he had already left the green smoke secret realm. But he must still be in the green smoke secret realm. Lin Feng nodded, his eyes brightening. After leaving the green smoke secret domain, I must return to the green smoke secret domain. After all, I entered from there. But what's so special about the third secret realm? There's not even a hint. Lin Feng muttered in his heart, feeling puzzled. Suddenly, roar! An astonishing roar resounded through the sky, and Lin Feng's eyes burned brightly. All of a sudden, His life spirit trembled slightly as he felt a strange energy invade his senses. A familiar feeling of energy. That's right, it's the same type of energy as the striped stone I obtained in the green smoke forest. Lin Feng immediately reacted. However, compared to the striped stone he had obtained, the energy in the distance was far inferior. There was still a large gap. At this moment, the energy seemed to have discovered him and approached him rapidly. Could it be an energy body similar to the Hulk and the smoke charm? Lin Feng's eyes narrowed slightly. His heart was calm. That energy did not have any signs of life. Obviously, it was not far from the truth. Soon Lin Feng saw the true face of Mount Lu. It's rather similar to an exotic beast. Lin Feng's eyes sparkled. What was running toward him was a deer-like magical beast monster. Its limbs were strangely long, and its body was covered in barbs. It looked very aggressive. Screech! The strange deer roared. As it ran, the crisscrossing antlers on its head flickered with a green glow. The bright color was strange. While Lin Feng was still in shock, a green light ball was instantly formed and sparkled. Lin Feng did not dare to delay and quickly retreated. This green light ball gave him a dangerous feeling, but there was no need to try. Boom! The green light ball flew out violently. At this moment, the strange deer roared and stomped on the ground with all its might. Its speed instantly reached the extreme. Its strength is far inferior to the Crystal Guardian, Lin Feng said indifferently. The Crystal Guardians he killed in the cultivation realm were at Star Sea Level 7 and Star Sea Level 8. This strange deer was at most at Star Sea Level 5. The difference was too great. However, its attack was much more strange than the Crystal Guardian. Chi! The eyes of the monstrous deer flickered as it sped towards Lin Feng, intending to kill him. Hua! Lin Feng paused. His talent Black Mist appeared. Although the speed of the green light ball was fast, Lin Feng was already prepared. Secondly, the appearance of the black mist completely slowed down the speed of the light ball. Moving back and forth, Lin Feng did not panic at all. With a calm expression, the green light ball had already brushed past his face. The distance was close, but the difference was huge. Lin Feng's eyes instantly lit up. The milky white Emperor Shun aura appeared. The power of the second level, 7th level, suddenly erupted. Ta! Lin Feng's right foot pushed against the ground as he dashed forward. In an instant, he switched from defense to offense. Perhaps before entering the green smoke realm, this strange deer with Star Sea Level 5 strength could cause him a lot of trouble. But now too weak, Lin Feng said softly. In the black mist, Lin Feng's figure became extremely mysterious. He was like a ghost. On the other hand, that strange deer was stuck in a quagmire. Its speed was completely restricted. In fact, with Lin Feng's strength, even without releasing the black mist, just relying on his current body, he could shake off the strange deer. One must know that although Lin Feng was at Star Sea Level 4, his body was close to Star Sea Level 6. They could not be compared at all. Die! Lin Feng shouted. The nightmare demon's spear stabbed out in the darkness like the scythe of the Grim Reaper. The fiery red spear pierced through the strange deer's body without any resistance. In an instant, its power completely erupted. Pung! The strange deer was directly blasted into pieces. Whoosh! Like evaporating water vapor, the strange deer instantly disappeared. At this moment, a strangely shaped green jade appeared in the air. It flickered with a faint luster. Oh, Lin Feng replied softly. He reached out and grabbed the jade stone. As he sensed the strange energy, a curious look appeared on his face. However, after looking left and right, he could not find any clues. He did not know what this green jade was used for. It seems to be related to the third secret realm, Lin Feng said. However, there was no clue at all. He did not know what secret this jade was hiding. Upon closer inspection, other than the faint peculiar energy contained within it, he could not sense anything else special about it. We'll see when the time comes. Lin Feng shook his head and did not dwell on this question. Although he did not know what was so special about the third secret realm, it was not something he could find out if he waited. Let's go look at other places. Lin Feng's eyes brightened. Clues must be found. On the other side, Lai Hu carried the sky piercer on his back and looked proud. So troublesome. I have to find that young master while looking for the key, Lai Hu muttered. After entering the green smoke secret realm, other than the mission of killing Lin Feng, Lai Hu also had to play the role of a bodyguard to protect LV Bao. After all, unlike the first and second secret realms, the third secret realm was quite dangerous. If one was not careful, it was normal to die. My luck is bad. I only found one key after half a day. Lai Hu thought, I wonder when I can gather all of them. Whoosh. Lai Hu was like a hurricane. He was extremely fast. I have to hurry. When I completely enter the third secret realm, the range will get bigger. Then, I will have to find someone. It won't be that easy. Compared to Lin Feng, he was much more familiar with the third secret realm and knew the rules of this place like the back of his hand. After all, he had entered the green smoke secret realm several times. He was already a veteran. Not far from Lin Feng, an eagle-eyed young man was flying at high speed. He had a thin face and spiky hair. He wore a short-sleeved robe that showed off his firm muscles. He was last year's top 4, and this year's top 10. Hu Pao. During the preliminary round, he had met Lin Feng once. Although they were both in the 6th area, they did not meet in the group. Before the competition, Hu Pao was thought to be able to enter the finals and even have the possibility of defeating the previous champion, Bai Shen. However, due to Ji Xia's sudden appearance, Hu Pao was defeated by Ji Xia. Not to mention the finals, Hu Pao could not even enter the top 4. However, his strength still made people click their tongues in admiration. This time in the cultivation realm, my strength has improved greatly. Damn it! If only I had my current strength a month ago, how great would that be? Hu Pao clenched his fists, his eyes filled with anger. That defeat in the elite martial competition was still unforgettable. Now I am also a 4th stage Star Sea state with 3rd stage astral power. And the saber art I just learned is very strong. Even if it doesn't have the attack power of an Earth stage, it is at least a high-grade human stage. If I meet Ji Xia again, I can definitely defeat him. Hu Pao's eyes sparkled. The rapid growth of his strength made him full of confidence. He wished he could go back in time and fight with Ji Xia again. This is my chance. Hu Pao's expression was full of joy as he thought, if I can get some treasure or a good weapon, my strength will definitely rise to another level. Didn't Bai Shen pick up a treasure here? Hu Pao's eyes were filled with disdain. And if I can get a top-grade mental cultivation technique, the Patriarch will also give me a good reward. Hu Pao thought in his heart and felt unbearably excited. To him, this third secret realm was a great opportunity for him to rise. I didn't get any treasures last year. I shouldn't be so unlucky this year. Hu Pao gritted his teeth and was full of fighting spirit. Just as he was thinking, suddenly, isn't that? Hu Pao was stunned and looked not far away. At this moment, a familiar figure was looking at him from afar. Both of their faces were filled with surprise. Lin Feng. I went out in the afternoon and came back late. First chapter, there are 2 more chapters. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 488. It's him. Lin Feng's eyes sparkled. He had sensed a familiar aura a long time ago. He didn't expect it to be a warrior who entered the green smoke secret domain with him. Whether it was the first or the second secret domain, he was in an independent space. However, in the third secret domain, he seemed to have entered a common world. Inside, There must be something special. Lin Feng thought. Of course, he recognized Hu Pao. He was one of the top 10 in the elite martial competition. He was the strongest warrior in the 6th area of the preliminary competition. How could he not have a deep impression of him? Wait, his name seems to be. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. His eyes suddenly brightened. Hu Pao! According to Fang and I, the Lu family's martial artist who will kill me this time is called Fierce Tiger. He is the captain of Lai Hu's death troop, the strongest warrior in the younger generation. Lin Feng's eyes flashed with a faint light. Hu Pao, Lai Hu, could it be the same person? Lin Feng's heart calmed down, but he became more vigilant. Looking at Hu Pao, his expression changed slightly. The person in front of him was very likely to be an enemy. Their eyes met, and both of them had their own ulterior motive. Hu Pao's mind was in a dilemma, and his expression kept changing. The patriarch told Lai Hu that if he killed Linwen, Hu Pao's eyes sparkled. He was also there that day. The patriarch gave this mission to Lai Hu. The mission reward was ordinary to Lai Hu, but to him it was quite considerable. Should I fight? Hu Pao was hesitant. If he killed Lin Feng, he would be the one to get the mission reward. But, the rumor that Lin Wen defeated Ji Xia, is it false, or is it true? Is Lin Wen really that strong? Hu Pao bit his lips, and some doubts flashed in his heart. During the preliminary competition, he saw Lin Feng's strength. He was not as strong as the rumors said. As for killing Ji Xia, he was skeptical and didn't believe it. When did I become so cowardly? Hu Pao clenched his right fist, and his eyes shone with a fierce light. Where is the ambition of that day? The days he spent cultivating in the Lu family had all been obliterated. Even if Lin Wen could defeat Ji Xia, so what? The current me can also defeat Ji Xia. Hu Pao's eyes shone with a cold light. As expected. Lin Feng's head trembled. The moment Hu Si revealed his killing intent, everything became clear. He had no enmity with Hu Si, and did not have the slightest bit of interaction with him in the elite competition. There was only one possibility for him to kill him now. He was Fierce Tiger. Lin Feng's eyes flickered as he smiled faintly. Suddenly, he turned around and without even looking at Hu Si, he sped forward. What he had to do was to help him make up his mind. Luring the snake out of its hole. You want to kill me? Lin Feng's eyes brightened. Come, I'll wait for you. Galloping forward, Lin Feng hid his aura. The weaker he appeared, the more he packaged himself like a sheep, and the more advantageous it would be for the battle. According to Fang and I, Fierce Tiger was the strongest in the younger generation of the Lu family, so he could not be underestimated. Although his strength had greatly improved in the Green Smoke secret realm, but be careful. Crap. He wants to escape. Hu Pao's expression changed, and he immediately gritted his teeth. Lin Feng's movement seemed to ignite the last hesitation in Hu Pao's heart. In an instant, killing intent was revealed. Want to leave? It's not that easy. Hu Pao's eyes shone with a fierce light, and a dense killing intent erupted in an instant. The saber on his back was unsheathed, bringing with it a sharp cold light. Since he had made up his mind, Hu Pao no longer hesitated. If he let Lin Feng run away like this, he would definitely regret it. Don't blame me. Die, Lin Wen. Lin Feng's escape deepened Hu Pao's judgment in his heart. In his opinion, Lin Feng was completely timid. If he didn't seize this opportunity, then he was too cowardly. Hu Pao's expression was ferocious, as if a demon had descended to the world. He was a level 4-star C-state powerhouse. It's here. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. Fang and I didn't lie to me indeed. I didn't expect that the mastermind was really the Lu family. Lin Feng's eyes sparkled. What Hu Pao didn't see was that it was a killing intent much stronger than his. Deeply hidden in those black pupils, Lin Feng's anger was hidden in his heart. If you advance 1 foot, I will advance 10 feet. Lu family, don't think that I, Lin Feng, am a pushover that you can bully. Want to kill me? Then pay the price. Lin Feng gritted his teeth, and a dense light appeared in his eyes. If the Lu family was only dealing with him, perhaps he wouldn't be so angry. But the Lu family actually used the Caifei sex group to threaten him. Such a despicable person was simply shameless. If he didn't take revenge for this, would he still be a man? I'll start with you. Lin Feng's eyes shot out a cold light. Fierce tiger. With a sudden roar, Lin Feng instantly turned around. Bang! The nightmare demon's spear was instantly unsheathed, bringing with it a sharp gale. The vigorous killing intent appeared, and the momentum was extremely shocking. In an instant, Hu Pao deeply felt it. His heart was suddenly startled, and his expression changed. He didn't expect Lin Feng's momentum to be so terrifying. While he was still in a daze, Lin Feng had already attacked. Like a meteor. Emperor Shun's aura. Lin Feng's expression was cold. Intense heaven and earth energy circulated, and a milky white aura enveloped his entire body. Along with the use of the innate black fog, Lin Feng instantly escaped into it, like a ghost in the darkness. It's this black fog. Hu Pao frowned. He had long heard of Lin Feng's black fog, and it was extremely powerful. Hu Pao's eyes were filled with envy, but more than that, there was greed. The thick black fog surrounded him, and Hu Pao felt as if he was trapped in a swamp, and his speed suddenly decreased. However, he didn't feel the slightest bit of fear. Instead, he felt a little excited. Thinking that this strange spirit treasure was about to fall into his hands, Hu Pao was filled with endless expectations. Star power, third gear. Hu Pao seemed to be crazy. Dense white star power hysterically erupted, enveloping his entire body. His muscles swelled, and his bones became extremely sturdy. Around Hu Pao's body, a white mist condensed. His strength was completely revealed. Linwen, you are very lucky. You are the first person to try my Snow Mountain Blade technique. Even if you die, you should feel honored. The corner of Hu Pao's mouth raised into a smile, full of confidence. However, the smile disappeared in an instant, and there was a whistling wind in his ears. Hu Pao suddenly felt his mind go blank. Where did he go? Lin Feng in front of him seemed to have disappeared, and in the blink of an eye, there was no trace of him. Like a ghost, he disappeared in front of his eyes. Xiao! Xiao! In an instant, like a gust of wind, Hu Pao suddenly saw a white light, like the morning light in the darkness, shooting straight in, as fast as lightning. At this moment, Hu Pao's chest seemed to have been struck by lightning, and his expression changed greatly. No, impossible! Hu Pao was extremely shocked. How can his speed be so fast? The thought had just appeared in his mind, but it was already too late. The strong spear intent suddenly surrounded him, and Hu Pao's heart was broken, and he crazily shouted, "No!" The saber in his hand desperately waved, bringing the white star power to condense. Snow Mountain Blade technique. Hu Pao seemed to have gone mad, and the power of his whole body was completely released. The ice-cold saber intent was filled with terrifying strength. Hu Pao's eyes were blood-red, and he couldn't wait to cut Lin Feng in two. The saber intent was extremely shocking. But, gee! It seemed to cut through the air, and there was no force. That feeling was empty, just like Hu Pao's mood at this moment. His whole body was empty. His body trembled, and his soul scattered. Hu Pao's expression was completely shocked, and his eyes instantly widened. Chi! There was a crisp sound. Like a needle piercing through paper, the surroundings became absolutely silent, so quiet that it was like a lamp had been extinguished. Severe pain instantly attacked him, and his eyes were hazy and confused. Hu Pao was full of disbelief, and he stared blankly at his chest. The fiery red spear body was bleeding, and the tip of the spear radiated cold light, like a ferocious demon, and became more and more blurred and hazy. In a split second, the world spun, and his consciousness gradually disappeared. No, impossible. How is it possible? Until death, Hu Pao didn't know how he died. With a pale complexion and a broken body, Lin Feng pulled out the nightmare demon's spear, and squeezed out the last trace of vitality. Bang! Hu Pao's eyes widened and he collapsed to the ground. He died with his eyes open. Whoosh! The black fog gradually dissipated. Lin Feng's figure slowly appeared, his expression extremely calm. Holding the nightmare demon's spear in his hand, Lin Feng frowned as he looked down at the cold corpse beneath his feet. Is he too weak? Or am I too strong? Lin Feng's eyes burned. He didn't use much of his strength at all. He only used a faint step and relied on his speed to easily kill him. To be honest, it was just a warm-up. Whether it was battle experience or strength, this Hu Pao was far weaker than he had imagined. Was he really the strongest person in the younger generation of the Liu family? Huff, Lin Feng let out a light breath and shook his head. It's hard to tell if it's true or not. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, Lin Feng said slowly. His gaze was fixed on the completely dead corpse, and his left hand instantly ignited a devouring flame and landed on it. Whoosh! The devouring flame burned fiercely and instantly engulfed the corpse. Bending down to pick up Hu Pao's storage ring, Lin Feng casually flipped through it. There weren't many valuable things, but there was one thing that was genuine: the Liu family's martial artist identity token. He is indeed a member of the Liu family. Whether he is fierce tiger or not, the fact that he attacked me just now is an ironclad fact. Liu family, if you are heartless, then don't blame me for being unjust. Lin Feng was suffused with a cold aura, and there was a deep chill in the corner of his eyes. At this moment, Lin Feng's killing intent had already appeared. Hu Pao had no idea that his stupidity had not only caused his own death, but had also completely infuriated Lin Feng, igniting all the hatred and anger accumulated in Lin Feng's heart. It was as if a bomb had been detonated. Not long after, the Liu family would have a big explosion. Bang! One more chapter. Xiao Xiao will finish writing before 3 o'clock. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 489. After killing Hu Si, Lin Feng did not stay any longer. He went deep into the third secret realm to explore the area and find the secrets within. This place was huge and spacious as if there were no borders. The deeper he went, the more Lin Feng could feel the majestic aura. It was something that the green smoke forest did not have. This place was like a boundless land. Even if he explored for a month or a year, he might not be able to explore it completely. It was full of unknowns and secrets. Another one. Lin Feng's eyes were bright. Another monster was killed. This time, a pentagon-shaped green jade appeared. He already had 2 of these jade stones, but he still did not know what they were used for. It's really weird. Lin Feng shook his head and smiled. Lin Feng put the jade stone into his robes and continued to dash forward. Although he did not know what it was used for, it was obvious that the more of these jade stones he had, the better. There must be a reason for its existence. In this third secret realm, the only special thing was these strange jade stones. Obviously, the secret here was most likely related to the jade stones. Although he did not know it yet, but it did not mean that he would not know in the future. Perhaps if I get more of these jade stones, I will be able to discover the secret, Lin Feng thought. Without any hesitation, Lin Feng was very determined. Young clan leader. Lai Hu cupped his hands. Oh, it's Lai Hu. LV Bao smiled. Young clan leader, your strength seems to have improved a lot. Lai Hu's eyes were bright as he smiled. LV Bao was praised and immediately raised his head proudly. Of course, in this cultivation realm, my strength has improved by leaps and bounds. Saying that, LV Bao could not help but smile proudly. Lai Hu, you have to be careful not to let me catch up to you. Lai Hu smiled. Young clan leader is too humble. Your talent is far superior to mine. It is only a matter of time before you catch up to me. Naturally, Fierce Tiger was very good at flattery. He knew very well that in the family forces, no matter how strong he was, the one who truly held power, sooner or later, it would be the young master who was biting off more than he could chew. It was important to please him. Ha ha! Lu Bao laughed heartily and said straightforwardly, Don't worry, Fierce Tiger. I've seen your loyalty. When I become the patriarch in the future, I'll let you take charge of the 3 Death Warrior regiments. At that time, you'll be second only to me and above tens of thousands. Make those old bastards scram to the side. Lai Hu's eyes lit up. He cupped his hands and said, Thank you, young patriarch, for thinking so highly of me. Lai Hu will do his best. LV Bao nodded with satisfaction. Very good. By the way, have you done what father asked you to do this time? Lai Hu hesitated slightly and said, I have waited outside the first secret realm for 10 days, but I still haven't seen Lin Wen. I speculate that Lin Wen has stopped in the first secret realm and hasn't come out. Seeing the displeasure on LV Bao's face, Lai Hu hastily said, Young clan head, please rest assured. When we go out, Lai Hu will take Lin Wen's life immediately. Lu Bao's eyes revealed an ominous glint. Good. Remember, capture him alive. This young master will personally cut this slut into pieces. Fierce Tiger heaved a sigh of relief in his heart and bowed his head. Understood. Among another mountain range. Humph, it's so boring here. Qin Xianshan flew past, her beautiful eyes scanning the surroundings. It's so troublesome to find all kinds of keys in such a desolate mountain range. Qin Xianshan seemed to be bored to death. She pouted her small mouth and said with a slight smile, I wonder where that guy is now? He must be desperately looking for keys. The things here are like pearls and treasures to him. Qin Xianshan pursed her lip. It's not fun at all. She was born rich, and the Li Yen sect didn't lack anything. The secret manuals of mental cultivation and even the spirit treasures here weren't of much use to Qin Xianshan. It was like the value of 1 Do spirit coin in front of Lin Feng and in front of the people of the Kai Jade sect. I don't know how long I'll be here. Forget it. Since I'm here, I'll take it easy. Qin Xianshan suddenly laughed. It's boring to look for keys. Let's go find that guy. I wonder where he is. Qin Xianshan's beautiful eyes twinkled. He looked around and disappeared in an instant. Time passed quickly in the 3rd secret realm. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. Lin Feng didn't stay idle. In 3 days, he obtained a total of 6 jade stones with strange energy. The strange thing was that none of them had the same shape. It was very strange. It's the 6th one, and I still don't have a clue. Lin Feng felt a little helpless. The 3rd secret realm was like a big cloud of fog. He had found the key, but he was still covered by the fog and couldn't see the mystery. He was very close to the answer, so close that he could touch it, but something was missing. What is it? Where is the secret to open these jade stones? A special place? Or a special arrangement? Lin Feng stood in the air and pondered. It wasn't difficult to obtain the 6 jade stones. The real difficulty was to find those monsters. In the 3rd secret realm, there weren't many of those monsters. Forget it. I don't think I can figure it out. Lin Feng shook his head helplessly. Although he was frustrated, Lin Feng's attitude was good. He didn't feel anxious. When he was about to move forward again, suddenly, swoosh, there was a sudden change. In an instant, Lin Feng's eyes lit up and he was pleasantly surprised. He hurriedly took out the 6 jades from his bosom, only to see that one of them was like a spinning top, giving off a sparkling glow. The strange energy was completely revealed. The green light was very strange. It condensed into a small arrow and pointed to the south. Oh! Lin Feng was overjoyed. He was completely enlightened. It's there. Lin Feng's eyes were clear. He didn't understand why the jade stone was shining. But now the opportunity for a breakthrough had appeared. What's there? Lin Feng's eyes lit up with curiosity. He had been in the third secret realm for 3 days. Finally, the opportunity, the clue, appeared. How could he miss it? Let's go. Lin Feng curled his lips. Like a bright shooting star, he rushed forward at full speed. Somewhere else in the third secret realm. My luck is so good? Qin Qianqian covered her mouth in surprise. I didn't expect to get all the keys I just got. Qin Qianqian's eyes were shining. She smiled and said, I don't know how many keys there are in this set. Since I have nothing to do, I'll go and take a look. Maybe I can meet that guy. Interesting. Qin Qianqian murmured with a faint smile on her face. At this moment there was also a spinning top jade stone in her hand. It was shining. The green light condensed into a small arrow and it pointed to the side. Swoosh! Qin Qianqian was extremely fast. She instantly disappeared. The road was not close. Following the direction pointed by the jade stone, Lin Feng moved quickly. The arrowhead condensed from green light kept changing directions like a compass. Even after 6 hours of hurrying, there was still no change in the situation. But it's different. Lin Feng's eyes were shining. With the jade stone in his hand, he could sense it clearly. The energy emitted by the jade stone was gradually increasing. It felt like it was close to something and it was calling out to him. It was getting closer and closer. It was getting more and more obvious. It's really related to these jade stones. This should be the secret of the third secret realm. But why is it that when I obtained it, there was nothing special about these jade stones, but after 2 days, these jade stones inexplicably changed? As he ran, Lin Feng thought about this question. The spinning top jade stone in his hand was obtained by killing a cat-like mutated beast 2 days ago. At that time, there was nothing special about it. Lin Feng thought about what happened that day. From the beginning to the end, scene by scene, Lin Feng pursed his lips and could not help but shake his head. There was still no clue. Forget it. Lin Feng's eyes were shining. When I reach the place the jade stone points to, maybe everything will be clear. Lin Feng nodded. He was fully prepared. He was ready to face the challenge of the third secret realm. The feeling was getting clearer and clearer. It was as if the sky was calling him. Lin Feng's eyes were shining. His chest rose and fell slightly. Soon, I'm almost there. Lin Feng's eyes were shining. The spinning top jade stone in his hand was shining brightly. It was filled with a lively aura. The green light seemed to have found its home. Lin Feng's eyes widened. He sensed with his life spirit. An unexplainable place appeared. The green mist was in front of him. It was getting thinner and thicker. This is... Lin Feng was shocked. In his memory, he seemed to have been here before. However, there was no such strange scene. While he was puzzled, the green mist became thicker and thicker. It enveloped his body. In an instant, Lin Feng felt a strange and extreme energy. Whoosh! The jade stone shone brightly, illuminating the mist. Suddenly, it shook violently. It seemed to be resonating. In the green mist, Lin Feng could vaguely see a circle of light. The shining green light and the energy it emitted were the same as the spinning top in his hand. It was as if they were mother and son. Is this it? Lin Feng was excited. In an instant, the jade stone emitted a strong energy. While Lin Feng was still in shock, the green light had already merged with the huge circle of light. It seemed to have penetrated through space. In an instant, a crack appeared in the circle of light, forming a spatial door. I see. Lin Feng's eyes were shining. He finally understood. At that moment, the spinning top in his hand had disappeared. Lin Feng stepped in. He felt as if the space was shaking. He had entered a new world. The strange energy was completely released. It filled the entire space. Compared to the energy contained in the spinning top, it was thousands of times more powerful. This is the secret of the third secret realm. Lin Feng's eyes were shining. So, this jade stone is the key to enter. Lin Feng completely understood. Suddenly, his life spirit sensed something. There's someone here? Lin Feng was stunned. At that moment, the green mist had dissipated. Two figures could be seen not far away. One of them was a red-haired man. He was tall and burly. The other, LV Bao. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. I didn't finish writing until 4 o'clock yesterday. I'll get up and make up for it. I'll continue writing. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 490. Lu Bao also saw Lin Feng. The moment their eyes met, the tranquil atmosphere was broken. Lin Wan, Lai Hu's eyes were burning. With his red hair standing up, Lai Hu's eyes were filled with killing intent. I thought you had failed in the green smoke forest. I didn't expect you to come here. You really don't know what death is. Lai Hu clenched his teeth with a ferocious expression. Bang! It felt like an explosion. A strong sound broke through the air, shaking the earth and mountains. Lai Hu's eyes lit up. At this moment, he didn't hesitate or think. Before entering the green smoke secret realm, the Patriarch had given him the mission. Seeing Lin Feng kill without mercy. Die. Lai Hu's killing intent was boiling. He pulled out the huge sky piercer, bringing with it a fierce cold light. Like a ferocious tiger out of the cage, Lai Hu attacked Lin Feng with his red short hair. His aura was extremely shocking. Lu family. Lin Feng's eyes were fierce. The moment he saw Lu Bao, Lin Feng's killing intent had already been ignited. And now, his judgment was proven. They had just met, but Lu Bao's side had already launched an attack. It was enough to prove that the Lu family had reached a point where they wouldn't rest until one of them was dead. It wasn't that Feng and I wanted to kill him with a borrowed knife, nor was it that he was petty and made up something out of nothing. It was that the Lu family was too vicious and merciless. Very good. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. There wasn't a hint of fear in his eyes. What made him the happiest was that he had clarified and confirmed the relationship between them. Now, he didn't need to hesitate anymore. Emperor Shun's energy. Lin Feng shouted. The energy of heaven and earth condensed, and a milky white energy spiraled around his body. Bang! The nightmare demon's spear was unsheathed. The red body of the spear and Lai Hu's red hair were like two scorching flames. In an instant, Lin Feng made his move. His innate black fog gushed out and enveloped the entire battlefield. Lu Bao's expression changed slightly. Greed and jealousy appeared in his eyes, but he crossed his arms and didn't move. He was extremely confident in Lai Hu's strength. In an instant, the black mist covered the battlefield. Fierce Tiger's expression changed slightly. It is indeed magical. He had long heard that Lin Feng had this spiritual treasure, but Fierce Tiger was not too surprised. The Fangtian halberd sliced through the air. Even though he felt as if he was stuck in a swamp, Fierce Tiger was experienced and did not panic at all. An astonishing halberd intent appeared, as if it could split open a mountain. Fierce Tiger's eyes flickered as he shouted, I want to see just how much strength you have. At this time, Lin Feng's figure was like a hurricane, violently blowing out in the darkness. Longyang spear art. Lin Feng was like a ghost in the darkness. His figure was like a ghost as he moved through the black fog, as though he was walking on flat ground. In an instant, he had taken the initiative. In an instant, the two figures collided with one another. It was as if the heavenly thunder had stirred up the earth fire, as if two meteorites had collided. Bang! Intense vibrations rang out. This was the first time they had probed each other, but the sharpness of their attacks had already been completely unleashed. The huge reaction force caused the two to stagger back. Lin Feng's eyes flickered, while Fierce Tiger's expression changed. After exchanging blows, they instantly understood each other's strength. The one who was the most shocked was obviously Fierce Tiger. Lin Feng's strength was much stronger than he had imagined. How can he be so strong? Fierce Tiger's expression was extremely ugly. In that instant, regardless of speed or strength, he was suppressed by Lin Feng. If not for his halberd technique surpassing Lin Feng's, he would have been at a disadvantage in the black fog. He should be the real Fierce Tiger. Lin Feng's eyes flickered. To be able to receive 50% of his attacks, the red-haired man in front of him was much stronger than Fierce Tiger. Just based on his aura and his experience in hundreds of battles, Fierce Tiger could not compare to him. The gap between the two was too big. Each had their own thoughts. The first test seemed to be on par, but in reality, Lin Feng was slightly stronger. Fierce Tiger's eyes were filled with killing intent. He gritted his teeth, but he felt a little gloomy. His fighting spirit suddenly boiled. Just as he was about to explode his star power and go all out, suddenly, there was a sudden change. Hua! The surroundings were in a state of shock. Lin Feng snorted, but Fierce Tiger and LV Bao were not too surprised. A white light flickered in the space. Lin Feng looked over and saw a familiar figure appear in front of him. He was not the only one who was surprised. Fierce Tiger and LV Bao's expressions changed. The refreshing short hair and the picturesque face were like an exquisite pearl, making people unable to look away. Wasn't that Qin Qianshan? Lin Wen. I finally found you. Qin Qianshan's beautiful eyes flickered. Her figure flashed and she came to Lin Feng's side. Suddenly, Qin Qianshan exclaimed softly. She felt the faint fighting spirit from Lin Feng's body and the milky white Emperor Shun's Gang Qi. Qin Qianshan's gaze immediately fell on Fierce Tiger not far away, and her beautiful eyebrows slightly knitted. What's going on? Qin Qianshan pursed her lips and asked. Irrelevant people, get out of the way. Fierce Tiger's tone was cold. He did not take Qin Qianshan seriously at all. You. Qin Qianshan was furious. LV Bao's expression slightly changed. He immediately said, Miss Qianshan, this is a grudge between the LV family and Lin Feng. I wonder if you can get out of the way? Lin Feng? Qin Qianshan frowned slightly and followed LV Bao's gaze to Lin Feng. She immediately understood. But glancing at Fierce Tiger and then at Lin Feng, Qin Qianshan hesitated. Then she pursed her lips as if she had made a final decision. She said capriciously, Why should I listen to you? What if I don't get out of the way? Then, Qin Qianshan stuck out her small chest and stood beside Lin Feng. LV Bao's expression was awkward. Fierce Tiger said coldly, 2 against 1? I don't care. What 2 against 1? Don't you have 2 people too? Qin Qianshan slightly raised her head and did not give in at all. At this moment, Lin Feng took a step forward and extended his right hand, blocking Qin Qianshan behind him. This is none of your business, Qianshan. Lin Feng looked calm. What did you say? Qin Qianshan's small face suddenly turned red. Turning around, Lin Feng looked at Qin Qianshan. Seeing the change in her eyes, he suddenly understood. He said slowly, This is a grudge between the LV family and me. Don't get involved. Also, Senior Sima she told me to take good care of you. So, please leave. Don't get involved in this. You! Qin Qianshan was so angry that her whole body trembled. She clenched her teeth and her face turned red. You idiot! Qin Qianshan angrily rebuked and stomped her feet. I don't care about you. After saying that, he angrily flew away. Looking at Qin Qianshan's back, Lin Feng's eyes twinkled. He was slightly touched. How could he not know Qin Qianshan's intention? Although she acted capricious, she actually wanted to help him. But he didn't need anyone's help. Lin Feng turned around and looked at Lai Hu calmly. Light flashed in his eyes. Perhaps before entering the green smoke secret domain, he had no chance of winning against this unfathomable Lai Hu. But now he was no longer the same as before. Idiot! Big idiot! Big idiot who thinks he's infallible! Qin Qianshan was so angry that she kicked the soil under her feet. She didn't expect that her good intentions would be taken advantage of. Although she didn't really like Lin Feng, she didn't like him. Her master wanted her to bring Lin Feng to Li Yan's sect. No matter what, they had a little relationship. How could she watch Lin Feng die? The red-haired man in front of her had a terrifying aura. That terrifying strength made even her heart palpitate. Not to mention Lin Feng. Good intentions don't pay off. Do you think that person is my senior brother and won't kill you? You'll know how to write the word regret later. Qin Qianshan was so angry that her face turned red, but she didn't go too far. After all, she was still soft-hearted. I won't save you. Qin Qianshan pouted and muttered to herself. Although that was the case, many times women always said things that didn't mean. On the other side, Lu Bao smiled. Seeing Qin Qianshan retreat to the side, he immediately crossed his arms and was very happy. He was very confident in Lai Hu's strength. However, with Qin Qianshan as a variable, things would become very troublesome. Regardless of whether Qin Qianshan's strength could threaten Lai Hu, her background alone was enough to make him wary and not dare to offend her. That was Li Yan's sect. The entire Green Smoke City would tremble if they moved their feet. Not to mention the Lu family. If they really fought, Qin Qianshan would be seriously injured. If Lai Hu accidentally killed Qin Qianshan, then the Lu family would have to bear the consequences. Lu Bao wasn't the only one who was happy. Lai Hu was also relieved. After the first test with Lin Feng, he knew that this person in front of him was a tough nut to crack. If there was another unknown Qin Qianshan, even if he could win, he would have to pay a big price. Moreover, Qin Qianshan's identity made him wary. His words just now were just to provoke Lin Feng. He didn't expect that Lin Feng would fall for it. If the two of them joined forces, he really didn't know what to do. But now, Lin Wen, you wanted to be a hero. You can't blame anyone if you die. Lai Hu sneered in his heart. Meaningless pride. Do you think that's all I have? I'll make you regret it. Lai Hu's eyes revealed a deep and sinister smile, full of confidence. In his heart, he had already sentenced Lin Feng to death. Two pairs of tiger eyes looked at each other. Lai Hu's eyes were full of murderous intent, and Lin Feng's aura was also not inferior. The tense atmosphere was suffocating. Lu Bao and Qin Qianshan stared at them without blinking, each with their own thoughts. Very well, Lin Wen, Lai Hu said coldly. That's more like a man. Lai Hu said slowly, but there was a hint of contempt in his words. The sky piercer in his hand suddenly shone. Lai Hu's confidence exploded at this moment and his eyes shone brightly. Don't worry, I'll leave you with a whole corpse. Enjoy this last battle. I'll let you see what a real star sea-level powerhouse is. Lai Hu's eyes shone brightly, and his ferocious appearance was filled with a violent aura. Suddenly, his whole body shone with red starlight. He clenched his fists, and at this moment, a fierce energy suddenly erupted. Star Power, 4th Gear. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 491. Red starlight shone around Lai Hu's body. The powerful energy was like a heavenly soldier descending from the sky. Lai Hu's body merged with the star power. His muscles swelled and were filled with explosive power. His entire aura was completely renewed. If he was a fierce tiger just now, then now, he was the Real Tiger King. The red light was shining brightly, and was no longer a misty existence. It was a real light, as if it had a physical body. This was the sign of star control, reaching the 4th level. Hua! LV Bao's eyes were bright. The smile on his face became wider and his confidence in Lai Hu grew stronger. On the other hand, Qin Qianshan was worried. She bit her lips and her face was pale. She had already seen that Lai Hu's strength was extraordinary. Now it proved her previous conjecture. "You big idiot!" Qin Qianshan cursed Lin Feng countless times in her heart. However, her eyes were filled with worry. She condensed her aura and was ready to attack at any time. No matter what, she couldn't watch Lin Feng get killed. His aura was completely on Lai Hu's side. In fact, Lin Feng's star control didn't even reach the 1st level, let alone the 4th level. Although he had already comprehended the star power, to truly control it required a long time of cultivation before it could take shape. Boom! It was like a sudden clap of thunder. Lai Hu's sky piercer clanged and shone with a cold light. The power that blossomed was enough to make one's heart tremble. It was so terrifying that it could uproot mountains. The 2-meter-long sky piercer was like a dagger in Lai Hu's hand. He could control it with ease. It came straight at him. Lai Hu's eyes were filled with madness and killing intent. Lin Feng is dead for sure. I didn't expect Lai Hu's strength to improve again. Within 3 moves, Lin Feng will lose. LV Bao's eyes shone. He crossed his arms and was filled with confidence. However, he didn't expect that Lai Hu wasn't the only one whose strength improved. Bang! The nightmare spear was unsheathed. Facing Lai Hu's attack, Lin Feng didn't panic at all. He was calm and composed. With strength came confidence. Although he had just comprehended the star power and couldn't use it, Lin Feng was confident in his current strength. He was full of confidence. The current him was no longer an ignorant person. "Lu family, you were the one who was heartless first. Then don't blame me for being unjust." Lin Feng's eyes lit up. His fighting spirit instantly exploded as he released his Gang Qi. The condensation of Emperor Shun's Gang Qi brought about a milky white aura, and the dense Qi of heaven and earth completely wrapped Lin Feng's figure. At this moment Lin Feng moved, bringing up a thick black fog. His right foot forcefully stomped on the ground, sweeping up a gust of wind. Lin Feng's speed suddenly exploded, turning into a streak of light. In a split second, everyone was dumbfounded. "Impossible!" Lu Bao's eyes widened in shock. How could his speed? Qin Qianshan covered her mouth in disbelief. At this moment, Lai Hu's expression was extremely ugly. Lin Feng's speed completely suppressed him. "Bastard, you actually pretended to be a pig to eat a tiger." Lai Hu hated Lin Feng so much that his teeth itched, his face twisted. With his star C level 5 speed, Lin Feng could actually completely suppress him. Even with the help of the black fog, but this was really too unbelievable. What star C level 1, bastard? The information is completely wrong. Lai Hu's expression was crazy as he suddenly waved his halberd. Under the boost of the star power, his speed was not even half of Lin Feng's. In this situation, if he continued to hide, then he really wouldn't even know how he died. Soul technique, flame meteor. Lai Hu gritted his teeth and roared. His right knee flashed, and a flame attacked his body. With that fiery red short hair and the red starlight, his entire person was like a raging fire. It was exactly like his name Lai Hu. His speed suddenly increased by twofold. Lai Hu went all out, but he could barely keep up with Lin Feng's speed. Lin Feng faintly raised the corner of his mouth. His right knee also flashed, wind vortex. Using heroic soul against heroic soul, soul technique against soul technique. Lai Hu, how could he compare to Lin Feng? Fast. Lin Feng's figure became extremely illusory in the black fog, appearing and disappearing unpredictably. Conqueror halberd technique. Lai Hu's aura completely exploded, and an earth-shattering attack covered the entire area. The huge halberd attacked horizontally, covering everything in front of him. Red star power covered his entire body, not only causing Lai Hu's speed to increase, but also his strength. His swollen muscles were shocking. But, this time, his opponent was Lin Feng. Star Sea Level 4 Lin Feng, in terms of power level, was indeed one level lower than him. But in terms of body, Lin Feng was almost comparable to a Star Sea Level 6 war god, a full level higher than Lai Hu. Although Lai Hu unleashed his star power to the 4th level, compared to the 3rd level, the 4th level was stronger in control and endurance, not instantaneous explosive power. Just in terms of power, Lin Feng was not inferior to Lai Hu at all, especially left hand. Dragon Sun Spear Art. Lin Feng did not give in at all. In terms of spear intent, it was indeed not as good as Lai Hu's halberd intent. But the difference in Earth Qi closed the gap between the two, and the sudden increase in speed allowed Lin Feng to unleash his power to the extreme. A spear of extreme yang, without any fancy moves, met Lai Hu's halberd head-on. Pung! A shocking collision. Earth Qi clashed, and Emperor Shun's Earth Qi was completely unleashed. Lin Feng's aura was fierce and powerful, condensing an indomitable aura in the black fog. When enemies meet on a narrow path, the brave wins. Break. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. The loud spear made Lai Hu's heart tremble. Even though he did not fall into a disadvantage in this collision, but in terms of aura however, he was completely defeated. The huge reaction force forced the two apart, but in an instant, Lin Feng rose again. The explosion of speed took the initiative in the entire battle. The fiery red spear condensed a milky white Earth Qi, like a light in the darkness, shining directly on Lai Hu's body, making him scared out of his wits. How can he be so strong? Lai Hu's eyes flashed with fear, and his hands trembled. He had not recovered from the previous collision. However, Lin Feng did not give Lai Hu any chance, and attacked from the sky, extremely crazy. Dragon Sun Spear Art. Lin Feng's eyes were cold and sharp. His attack power was completely unleashed. In terms of the reaction force, he was not inferior to Lai Hu. But, no matter how serious the injury was, it could be healed instantly, not to mention his numb left hand. His aura was astonishing. At this time, Lu Bao's eyes were wide open, and his hand was covering his chest, his body inexplicably trembling. On the other hand, Qin Qianqian was surprised and happy, with an expression of disbelief, and her small mouth was half open, unable to close for a long time. The Lin Feng in front of her, and the Lin Feng she knew, were like two different people. No! Lai Hu's face was distorted. The sky piercer in his hand did not listen to him, and fell to the ground. The sound of it falling to the ground was like a heavy hammer hitting Lu Bao's heart, causing his face to instantly turn pale. And at this time, Lai Hu's eyes were filled with madness, and at his right elbow, a fierce light appeared. The fiery red aura completely covered his right hand, and condensed into a red star. In an instant, a huge sky piercer, like a fiery red demon dragon, appeared in his hand. Soul Technique, Blazing Halberd. Lai Hu was forced to use his final trump card. The spear body was astonishing, and the flame aura was filled with a burning sensation. Lai Hu's aura suddenly expanded. Lu Bao's surprise turned into joy, but the change in his expression was only for a moment. His eyes were wide open, and his heart almost stopped. On the tip of Lin Feng's spear, there was also a flame. Rebirth Flame. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Feeling Lu Bao's flaming halberd, he also used his full strength. In terms of attack, he was completely suppressed. In terms of flame, let's end this. Lin Feng's aura exploded in an instant. The moment the rebirth flame touched the blazing halberd, the flame completely engulfed it. The power of the flame was very pure. Big fish eat small fish, and small fish eat shrimps. The weak are prey to the strong. No, Lai Hu felt his strength draining away, and was instantly scared out of his wits. But the light in front of him was getting brighter and brighter, like a flaming meteor, falling from the sky, filled with a burning and explosive aura. Lai Hu had never felt that the red light was so terrifying. All along, he had an extreme obsession and pride for fire, and for the color red. Every martial artist that died in his hands all died in that red light. But it was his turn. Die. Lin Feng's eyes revealed his killing intent. There was no mercy, and there was no hesitation. Being merciful to the enemy was being cruel to oneself. The rebirth flame instantly broke through Lai Hu's defense, and the nightmare demon's spear pierced through Lai Hu's body as if it was a thin layer of paper. The violent energy exploded in an instant. Lin Feng's eyes turned cold, and the rebirth flame instantly exploded. Boom! Without any mercy. The power from the tip of the spear smashed Lai Hu's body into pieces. That fiery red light blossomed with its last light, and engulfed Lai Hu in the air. The corpse completely disappeared, and the only thing left was a shiny storage ring. Lin Feng waved his right hand and instantly kept it. Lai Hu dead. There was a sound of suffocation. So powerful. Qin Qianqian was completely stunned. Her beautiful eyes lit up as she looked at Lin Feng, as if she was looking at a complete stranger. Lin Feng's strength was far beyond her imagination. She didn't expect that in just over a month, that youth who only relied on luck to beat her senior brother in the arena had become this powerful. He could defeat a level 5 cosmic sea state with level 4 star control force in a head-on clash. What a powerful strength! Qin Qianqian was stunned, and Lu Bao was completely dumbfounded. They didn't expect that Lai Hu, the strongest of the Lu family's younger generation, couldn't even take 3 moves. In a head-on confrontation, he was blasted into pieces by Lin Feng. No, impossible! I must have seen wrongly. Lin Feng, how can Lin Feng be so strong? Lu Bao's mouth twitched and his expression changed. His mind was in a daze. He was in a daze, and he was completely at a loss. He was too caught off guard. Suddenly, a sharp gaze shot over, carrying a strong killing intent. Hua! Lu Bao's mind was blown. He felt a chill run down his spine, and he instantly became clear-headed. No, don't. Lu Bao's expression was extremely shocked. Lin Feng wanted to kill him. Add a chapter first. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 492. Lin Feng's murderous intent was fully revealed. Since he was sure that it was the Lu family, he would not show mercy. If you advance 1 foot, I will advance 10 feet. Furthermore, the initiator of the grudge between him and the Lu family was the well-dressed Lu Bao in front of him. Lu Bao! Lin Feng shouted coldly, and his aura surged. Killing Lai Hu had brought out the hostility in his heart. His murderous intent did not weaken because of Lai Hu's death, but instead became stronger. Anger was hidden deep in his eyes. Lin Feng hated the Lu family to the core when he thought of the unbearable scene of the Caifei sect people. He would not let them off easily. Die! Lin Feng's eyes were cold. The milky white energy of Emperor Shun covered his entire body and wrapped around the nightmare demon's spear. Lin Feng's aura enveloped the entire area. The terrifying murderous intent made people shudder. True anger. No. No! Lu Bao's expression was horrified. He was scared out of his wits. The scene of Lin Feng killing Lai Hu was still vivid in his mind, and it was a shocking scene. This strength was truly too terrifying. His confidence was long gone. Lu Bao was so regretful that his intestines turned green. He wished he could give himself 2 slaps. Why did he offend this fiend for no reason? Not only did he fail to enter the inner sect of the fierce Yen sect, he was now in a dangerous situation. Lin Feng's murderous intent terrified him. How could Lu Bao resist and fight with Lin Feng? Even Lai, who was defeated in 3 moves. Not to mention him. Lu Bao staggered and retreated. He did not dare to escape. With his speed, he would be sentenced to death if he tried to escape. He looked around in fear. When he saw Qin Qianqian, it was as if he saw his savior. Lu Bao cried and shouted, Save me, Miss Qianqian." Lu Bao clenched his fists and said, "Miss Qianqian, for my father's sake, save me, save me." The situation changed instantly. Qin Qianqian was completely stunned. She did not expect it to turn out like this. Qin Qianqian immediately reacted. When he saw Lu Bao's expression, his heart softened. Although she didn't have a good impression of Lu Bao, the truth was that she, her master, and her senior martial brother had been received by the Lu family as honored guests when they came to Greensmoke City. After all, LV Zhen was once a disciple of the Fierce Yen school, so they could be considered to have some connections there. "Lin Wen, can you?" Qin Qianqian pursed her red lips and spoke hesitantly. "No." He refused decisively. Lin Feng stared coldly at LV Bao as if he was looking at a dead man. Letting the tiger return to the mountain would only lead to endless trouble. "You." Qin Qianqian was so angry that her face and ears turned red. She remembered that she was worried about Lin Feng's safety and wanted to save him. He did not know that she was a good person. Now, he even humiliated her without mercy. Qin Qianqian was so angry that his whole body trembled. He could not say a word. "This is between me and the Lu family. Don't interfere," Lin Feng said. He frowned slightly. To be honest, if he was not afraid of accidentally injuring Qin Qianqian, he would have already taken action. However, LV Bao was too close to Qin Qianqian. On the other side, LV Bao's body trembled and he almost knelt down. "Miss Qianqian, I beg you. Please spare my life for my father's sake. I beg you." LV Bao was indeed very smart. He could see the situation clearly. He knew that the only person who could save him was only Qin Qianqian. In fact, only Qin Qianqian would be soft-hearted. "You sigh." Qin Qianqian sighed softly and bit her red lip. She took a step forward and blocked LV Bao behind her. She stared angrily at Lin Feng. "Lin Wen, if you want to kill him, you have to kill me first." Qin Qianqian puffed up her chest. Her stubborn expression was clear for all to see. Lin Feng frowned deeply. He did not expect things to turn out this way. Very troublesome. Lin Feng glanced at LV Bao and saw that his eyes were flickering. He knew that LV Bao was very cunning. He could not allow a tiger to grow. "But, if I persist, I'm afraid that LV Bao will hurt this stupid girl." Lin Feng thought and felt a little troubled. No matter what, he had promised Sima Shi that he would protect her safety. He did not expect her to be so soft-hearted. She would save everyone regardless of whether they were good or bad. She was indeed inexperienced. "Phew," Lin Feng exhaled softly. The killing intent in his eyes instantly disappeared. Bang! Lin Feng put the nightmare demon spear back into its scabbard. His expression calmed down. Lin Feng looked at Qin Qianqian and said indifferently, "All right, I'll let him go for your sake." Qin Qianqian instantly revealed a look of joy. She raised her head and snorted softly as if to say, "That's more like it." LV Bao's expression also relaxed slightly as he heaved a sigh of relief. "Why aren't you leaving?" Lin Feng suddenly shouted coldly. His voice was like thunder. LV Bao's heart shook violently. As if he had just received amnesty, he was so frightened that he hurriedly ran away. His speed was extremely fast. He wished that he could grow 2 more legs. The further away he was from this fiend, the safer he would be. "Lin Feng, just you wait." LV Bao's eyes flashed with intense anger. "When I return to the LV family and Green Smoke City, I will definitely cut you into pieces and smash you into minced meat." LV Bao's hatred for Lin Feng had already reached its peak. On the other side, Qin Qianshan's mouth twitched slightly. She was just about to speak when suddenly, the situation changed abruptly. Whoosh! Lin Feng shot out like a sharp arrow. In the blink of an eye, he passed by Qin Qianshan and attacked LV Bao, who was fleeing in panic. The shocking qi of heaven and earth instantly exploded. Intense killing intent appeared from Lin Feng's body. Lin won. Qin Qianshan was so angry that her delicate body trembled. Bang! Like a bolt of lightning, Qin Qianshan's face rapidly flushed red. She had never expected Lin Feng to change his attitude so quickly. She had just said that she would let LV Bao go, but he suddenly changed his mind and played her like a monkey. Qin Qianshan was fuming with anger. No, no! Sensing the terrifying aura behind him, LV Bao was so frightened that he had already wet his pants. He looked as if he had seen a ferocious ghost. His entire body trembled violently, and the clothes on his back were completely drenched. Revenge? At this moment, he no longer had any thoughts of revenge. He caught up to LV Bao in an instant. Lin Feng, who had unleashed his full strength, was 10 times faster than LV Bao. The black fog instantly enveloped LV Bao like a hunter catching his prey. Lin Feng's killing intent surged. Longyang spear art. He pulled out the Nightmare Demon's spear in his right hand, bringing with it a vigorous energy. The fiery red spear was covered in milky white energy, and it pierced out like lightning. At this moment, Lin Feng frowned slightly. The fierce aura behind him had already caught up. Qin Qianshan was extremely fast. Although Lin Feng's speed was far superior to Qin Qianshan's, he could not widen the distance between them. However, Lin Feng did not care about the threat behind him. At this moment, LV Bao was the only one in front of him. Don't even think about escaping. Lin Feng's aura locked onto LV Bao, completely controlling him. That day, it was because of his negligence that Li Ming had killed Wang Feng and escaped easily. That was why there were so many twists and turns later. As the young master of the LV family, LV Bao's escape methods were no less than Li Ming's. He could not give him any chance. Die. Lin Feng's eyes turned cold. The Nightmare Demon's spear was filled with a terrifying aura as it stabbed out wildly. There was no mercy. Since he had done it, he would do it to the end. Cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. Save. LV Bao's hysterical voice echoed throughout the forest. However, his chest had been pierced. His eyes were wide open, and his face was filled with fear. However, he could no longer make any sound. His raised hand was filled with helplessness. LV Bao's eyes were filled with extreme reluctance. He did not want to die like this. However, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Boom. LV Bao's body collapsed on the ground. At this moment, Lin Feng frowned slightly. Suddenly, an intense pain attacked his heart. Qi. Blood splattered everywhere. At his waist, a shiny dagger had pierced into his skin. Lin Feng turned around and saw Qin Qianshan's panicked and pale face. Why didn't you dodge? Qin Qianshan pulled out the dagger in a panic and looked at the injured Lin Feng. The dagger fell to the ground. Her eyes were filled with tears, and her expression was filled with all kinds of complicated emotions. Biting her lips, Qin Qianshan suddenly burst into tears. Her tears fell like rain. She stomped her feet and said, "Lin Wen, I hate you to death." Leaving behind a fragrant wind, Qin Qianshan cried and left. Covering his wound with his hand, Lin Feng smiled bitterly and shook his head. Although the wound was deep, Qin Qianshan did not have any intention to kill him. The little girl only wanted to stop him from committing a crime. However, she did not expect that he would not dodge. That was the reason for the terrifying scene just now. Sigh, so troublesome. Lin Feng bent down and picked up Qin Qianshan's shiny dagger. Looking at it, it was cool and had a strong energy. It was obviously not an ordinary dagger. Without a doubt, this was Qin Qianshan's weapon. She even threw it away. It was obvious how she was feeling just now. In fact, Lin Feng did not blame Qin Qianshan. He was the one who broke his promise first. The wound on his waist was a troublesome matter for other warriors. It was not a serious injury, but it was not a light injury either. However, to Lin Feng it was a small matter. In the blink of an eye, the wound had healed and new flesh grew. It was as if nothing had happened. There was no pain at all. His body had a strong recovery ability. The real trouble was, my relationship with her seems to be even worse, Lin Feng said softly. To be honest, his impression of Qin Qianshan was not bad. No matter what, Qin Qianshan wanted to help him just now. Regardless of whether she could help or not, her intention was enough. She may have never experienced such a thing. Let her calm down for a while. Lin Feng pondered. He did not regret what he had done just now. Lu Bao deserved to be killed. If he was not killed, he would definitely become a big problem. Just by looking at his performance just now, he knew what kind of character he had. He was sinister and cunning. He would commit all kinds of crimes. If he was not killed, there would be a second Sci-Fi sect incident. At that time, it would be too late for him to regret. Being kind to the enemy was being cruel to oneself. Lu family. Lin Feng's eyes were cold. The death of Lai Hu and Lu Bao was just the beginning. He would not passively wait for the Lu family's revenge and killing intent. You want to kill me? Then be prepared to pay the price. Lin Feng's expression was stern. The devouring fire in his hand suddenly appeared. It was like the flames of hell that landed on Lu Bao's body. Bang! The fire spread and devoured Lu Bao's body. Lin Feng's eyes were reflected in it. His killing intent was revealed. Completed. I had something to do yesterday and went out. Here, thank you for your supervision. I am sincerely grateful. However, I would rather break my promise than to update twice a day. Humans are lazy. If I only update twice a day, I will only update twice a day. Now, at least I know my shame and work hard every day to make up for it. I just bought a treadmill. Xiao Xiao has to exercise and adjust her work and rest schedule. Writing is really a tough job. After becoming a full-time worker, I can see clearly that this job is not only mental work, but also physical work. I am sleeping on a hard bed now. My waist hurts. I have to soak my fingers every day. Otherwise, they will be sore. It is really not easy to support the family. P.S. The previous nonsense is not counted in the number of words. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 493. Lin Feng picked up Lu Bao's storage ring. The slightly dim luster gave off a cool feeling. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Obviously, Lu Bao's storage ring was much better than Lai Hu's. Young Master Lu. I wonder what good things there are. Lin Feng pondered for a moment and immediately checked Lu Bao's storage ring. There were indeed a lot of things inside, and many of them were quite rare. Sword techniques, mental cultivation methods, spirit treasures, immortal fruits. Lu Bao's storage ring was like a treasure bag, too much for the eyes to take in. In an instant, Lin Feng's face lit up with joy and his eyes lit up. His right hand flickered, and a silver-skinned book appeared in Lin Feng's hand. With slightly messy handwriting, it looked very rare. The Lost Dragon Star Technique. Star Condensation Art. Lin Feng exclaimed softly. Lin Feng was surprised and excited. Holding the silver book, he was overjoyed. For him, the most important thing right now was the star condensation art. I wonder what grade it is. But I think Lu Bao's cultivation method must be of good quality. Lin Feng's eyes lit up, and his heart was filled with surprise. He didn't expect to obtain this star condensation art without any effort. He didn't explore any secrets of the third secret realm. For him, this was undoubtedly a good start, and it increased his luck. The star condensation art determined the speed of improvement. For him, it was very important. Putting away the Lost Dragon star technique, Lin Feng smiled faintly. This unexpected surprise made him very happy. Looking around, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. This place looked no different from the outside. I wonder what secrets there are here. Lin Feng thought. Whether it was the density of spirit qi or the feeling of the aura, it was different from the third secret realm. This should be an independent space. I hope. I'll be lucky, Lin Feng said with a smile. He took a light step forward and immediately sped into the mountain forest with a relaxed expression. Regardless of whether there would be any gains, at least he didn't have to worry about the future. In the green smoke secret realm, the threat of the Liu family was gone. 15 minutes later. Hua! The space trembled slightly. A young man in white jade armor appeared with a pair of sparkling eyes. I seem to have arrived a little late, the young man said softly and smiled valiantly. His skin was white and tender like that of a young girl's. The young man had red lips and white teeth. He had a head of flowing black hair and was filled with neutral charm. He was indeed a handsome man. White God was the champion of last year's elite martial arts competition. This year's elite martial arts competition was in the top 4. His origins were a mystery, but his strength was considerable. Coupled with his handsome appearance, he was extremely popular in Green Smoke City and was the idol of thousands of young girls. In the semi-finals, White Deity and Ji Xia had a great battle. In the end, White Deity lost by a hair's breadth. If not for Ji Xia's sudden appearance, this year's champion would definitely still be White God. Judging from the energy, it should be a treasure with 5 keys. A 4-star treasure realm. TSK, I've only just entered the third secret realm, and I already have such a harvest. My luck this year is especially good. White God smiled faintly, and a light flashed in his eyes. His ghostly figure disappeared in an instant. Galloping through the forest, Lin Feng explored everywhere. A vast mountain range, a rainforest, and a valley. This place was like another world, and it was incompatible with the outside world. It's indeed different. Lin Feng's eyes were shining. If my guess is correct, there should be some treasures hidden here, and the jade stone I got in the outside world is the key to enter. Lin Feng nodded slightly. His heart was becoming clearer and clearer. From the first secret realm to the third, he could completely deduce the mysteries within. Many of the high-grade mental cultivation methods of the major sects in Green Smoke City came from the Green Smoke secret realm. However, there was none in the first secret realm. At first, he thought it was the second secret realm, but obviously it wasn't. In other words, it was most likely the third secret realm. Mental cultivation methods, secret manuals, treasures. Lin Feng shook his head. These things were indeed very useful. But, mental cultivation methods, I have Emperor Shun's energy. It's completely enough. As for the star-gathering art, even if this wayward dragon star technique is not the best in the Liu family, it must be one of the best. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He was very confident in this wayward dragon star technique. How could Liu Bao cultivate an ordinary star-gathering art? The Liu family and the Fong family have ruled Green Smoke City for so many years, and they have entered and exited the Green Smoke secret realm thousands of times. Lin Feng nodded. He completely understood. This time, for example, Liu Bao, Lai Hu, and Hu Pao from the Liu family entered the Green Smoke secret realm. So what if it was before? One thing for sure was that the number of people who entered would not be small. However, the Liu family's best star-gathering art was only at the 4th grade of the human class. Fong and I once mentioned that the best star-gathering art in Green Smoke City was at the 3rd grade of the human class in the Fong family. In other words, The best star-gathering art produced by the Green Smoke Secret Realm in the past thousands of years is only at the 3rd grade of the human class. Lin Feng smiled indifferently. How could he be so lucky to get it? With this wayward dragon star technique, he should be satisfied. I don't lack weapons. I also have enough spirit treasures. Here, the only thing that I can look forward to is the secret spear technique, but Lin Feng smiled helplessly. The probability was too small. Not to mention the probability of finding a secret weapon technique. He knew of as many as 18 kinds of weapons. If he really wanted to calculate the probability of finding a secret spear technique, especially one that he cultivated, the probability was too small. It was completely unnecessary. Instead of wasting time, it's better to save it. Duo once said that external objects are only auxiliary. The real way is, it's one's own strength. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He clearly understood this sentence. When he fought with Lai Hu, he relied on the complete suppression of his strength and rank. The terrain here is very strange. There is a strange energy gathering. The perception of the star power is stronger than the outside world. Although it is not as good as the cultivation realm, but it is much stronger than the 3rd secret realm and Green Smoke City. Lin Feng nodded. His eyes were bright. There was indeed a long way to go before he could raise his god of war strength. However, the increase in the multiplicity of his star power had already reached the point where he could touch it. I have to find a safe and quiet place. I have to concentrate on cultivating, Lin Feng thought to himself and strengthened his belief. In the treasure realm, Qin Qianshan was fuming. It was not that LV Bao was especially important to her, but Lin Feng's actions had made her furious. That jerk. That untrustworthy jerk. That devil who kills without batting an eyelid. Qin Qianshan kicked the weeds on the hillside. Her face was red and she could not calm down. However, she bit her lips and a hint of worry flashed in her eyes. It would be a lie to say that she was not worried. Although she was angry at that time, she regretted it the moment the dagger pierced him. Seeing Lin Feng being stabbed by her just like that, Qin Qianshan only felt her heart ache and she lost control of her emotions. At that time, she only wanted to leave and did not think too much. I wonder what happened to that jerk. Humph. Good people don't live long, but bad people don't die no matter what. Qin Qianshan consoled herself, but then her eyes flickered and she bit her lip. But, he lost a lot of blood just now. Will he really be fine? I heard that there are many monsters in the treasure realm. Can he deal with them when he's injured? Qin Qianshan muttered to herself. She was obviously extremely hesitant and conflicted. Suddenly, Qin Qianshan's expression changed, as if she heard the roar of a beast. Qin Qianshan gritted her teeth. As if the string in her heart had been pulled, Qin Qianshan rushed back with worry in her eyes. I'm not worried about that jerk. Go save him. It's just that, my dagger is still with him. Yes, that's it. Qin Qianshan finally found a reason, and a smile appeared on her exquisite little face. In a hidden cave. It was empty, dark, and damp. This was the mountainside of an enormous mountain. The cave was covered by dense weeds. If one did not look carefully, it would be difficult to notice it. The environment was very bad. It could even be said to be rather bad. But Lin Feng was living in seclusion here. To a martial artist, cultivation represented everything. If one was completely immersed in cultivation, would there be any difference in the outside environment? At this moment, Lin Feng was flipping through the wayward dragon star art with a burning gaze. The cave was dark and there was almost no light. However, with Lin Feng's eyesight, he could easily see the words clearly. With a focused expression, Lin Feng meticulously studied the wayward dragon star art and completely entered the cultivation state. Again and again, after reading through the wayward dragon star art, Lin Feng read it carefully again, until he completely grasped and comprehended it. Just now, when he raised his head, Lin Feng's eyes flickered with a clear luster and the corners of his mouth raised into a faint smile. Although it's not comparable to the star condensation technique in the cultivation state, but, compared to the mystic sunflower star art that I originally cultivated, it's undoubtedly much stronger. Lin Feng nodded and revealed a satisfied expression. As I expected, this wayward dragon star art should be of the 4th grade of the human rank. It should be the best star condensation technique of the Liu family. Gently closing the wayward dragon star art, Lin Feng took a deep breath and closed his eyes. Slowly calming his breath, Lin Feng's expression became serious and he focused his mind. He began to cultivate. Soon, Lin Feng sensed that the star power ball in his human soul had already formed an independent body. Red starlight flickered. In the center of light, the red mist was already close to saturation. It was extremely close to the 4th condensation. Through the original star power, Lin Feng entered the state of enlightenment. In an instant, he sensed the familiar feeling in the distant starry sky. After comprehending the star power ball and the distant starry sky seemed to be connected by a silk thread. No matter what the level of the star condensation technique was, even the worst one could still sense the existence of the star power, cultivate and absorb it. The only difference was the speed of cultivation. And here, as expected, the star power is much stronger here than in the outside world. Lin Feng thought to himself and felt a little happy. The content of the wayward dragon star art appeared in his mind. Lin Feng softly recited it, comprehended it, and was about to start cultivating. Suddenly, thump, thump, the sound of a heartbeat, that long-lost feeling surfaced in his heart again. In an instant, Lin Feng's expression changed instantly. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 494. It's here again. Lin Feng opened his eyes, which were shining brightly. The state of micro-comprehension was cut off, and the strong heartbeat was cut off at the same time. Lin Feng was deeply shocked. The last time he appeared, he had yet to comprehend the astral power, and he was cultivating the enigmatic sunflower star art. And this time, he was cultivating the rogue dragon star art. It's not a problem with the star condensation technique. It's because of me. Lin Feng quickly made a judgment. He had suspected it that day. But the heartbeat was fleeting, and there was no way to speculate. Now it appeared again. It was also fleeting, but this time it was much more intense. Again. Lin Feng calmed his mind and closed his eyes. He sensed the distant and powerful astral power, and sensed the existence of the heavenly might. He completely entered the micro-comprehension state. The use of the rogue dragon star art was like a catalyst that triggered the heartbeat feeling again. And this time, Lin Feng deeply felt it. It's it. It can't be wrong, it's definitely it. In the micro-comprehension state, Lin Feng seemed to feel a flash of light. It was a slender wooden staff, shining with a sparkling luster. At that moment, Lin Feng seemed to have returned to the ancient ruins of the 100 Falls, to the past. The scenes at the dwarf waterfall appeared one after another, and they were incomparably familiar. This wooden staff was obtained at the dwarf waterfall from the red dwarf leader who guarded the final pass. That day, he didn't know the use of this wooden staff, and he tried to drip blood on it, but this strange wooden staff was obviously not a spiritual treasure. There was nothing he could do. Therefore, the wooden staff had been forgotten in the purple ring. I thought it was a soul weapon, like the Aurora All. Lin Feng's eyes sparkled as he murmured. In the dwarf waterfall, when he was fighting with the red dwarf, the wooden staff was quite powerful, and the red dwarf used a secret technique to display it. Therefore, he always thought that the wooden staff couldn't display its power because he didn't have a secret technique like the Aurora All. But now, Opening his eyes, Lin Feng's eyes sparkled. In a split second, the wooden staff landed in his hand. It was about a meter long and was engraved with a unique pattern. It was narrow at the bottom and wide at the top. The wooden staff gave off a feeling of power. However, after leaving the state of profound, the wooden staff had become ordinary. It was impossible to see anything special about it. Picking up the wooden staff, Lin Feng frowned slightly. He looked left and right, but there was nothing special about it. Let's try again. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. This time, Lin Feng gripped the wooden staff tightly with both hands and entered the state of enlightenment. A strange feeling followed him. His mind was calm and clear. The strong star power instantly entered his mind. Lin Feng was shocked. Very strong. He was quite strong. There was no more heartbeat. Through his body, Lin Feng saw the wooden staff. At this moment, it was shining brightly, as if the sun had seen the light again. A strange energy fluctuation condensed on the wooden staff. It was very similar to the scene in the dwarf waterfall, but the difference was, back then, the energy that condensed on the wooden staff was countless water droplets. But now it was a sea of red starlight. It was completely condensed. The wooden staff was like a magnet. Through the medium of the wooden staff, his body could sense the star power extremely strongly. It was several times stronger than before. Amazing! Lin Feng was overjoyed. The strong star power gathered in the wooden staff, and he absorbed it again. Although this set of missing dragon star art was not as good as the star fusion technique in the cultivation realm, with the amplification of this wooden staff, the amount of star power absorbed was far more than before. It felt as if he was originally using a basin to draw water, but now he was using a bucket to draw water. The amount of star power he absorbed increased by 3 to 5 times. In other words, as long as I have this wooden staff, my cultivation speed will increase by about 4 times. Lin Feng felt excited. Perhaps this wooden staff didn't have any other uses, but just this one use was already a priceless treasure to the current him. With this, there is nothing to worry about. Lin Feng was full of joy. Even if my star fusion art is slightly inferior, my cultivation speed will not be worse than other martial artists. Strong confidence surged, and Lin Feng seemed to see the bright starlight in the distance. He closed his eyes tightly and focused on his cultivation. In an instant, he was completely immersed. Time passed slowly. In this treasure realm, everyone was different. Lin Feng was immersed in cultivation and did not pay attention to the outside world. He was sprinting toward the 4th level of star power. White God was searching everywhere for treasures in the treasure realm. Qin Qianqian was anxiously looking for Lin Feng. The more she could not find him, the more anxious she became. Her small face was pale, and she was afraid that she had caused Lin Feng's death. Qin Qianqian was full of regret. Bad guy, where did he go? Big bastard, come out quickly! Qin Qianqian shouted. Her beautiful eyes were filled with tears. Guilt, regret, and all kinds of complicated emotions mixed in Qin Qianqian's heart. She was very worried about Lin Feng's safety. However, she just could not find him. Qin Qianqian flew in the mountain range in a daze. She passed by one mountain range after another. She was listless and could not lift her spirits at all. When she thought of the day when she stabbed Lin Feng, her heart ached. She wanted to slap herself. Why was she so impulsive at that time? Qin Qianqian looked around casually and sighed. Suddenly, that is. Qin Qianqian's body suddenly stopped, and her eyes were a little dazed. Looking over, in the middle of a huge mountain range in the distance there was a deep valley. At that moment, it was filled with thick green fog. It was very strange. Her small mouth opened slightly, then opened again. Qin Qianqian shouted in surprise and covered her cherry lips in surprise. At that moment, she finally reacted. Her eyes were filled with shock. I found the treasure? Unlike Lin Feng, Qin Qianshan and God Bai were very familiar with the green smoke mystery realm. They already knew about the uniqueness of the third mystery realm. In this treasure realm, as long as one could find the green fog, it meant that they had found the treasure, unearthed. It was a coincidence. Qin Qianshan did not think about finding the treasure at all, but many things. There were no stories without coincidences. Whoosh! Qin Qianshan's eyes were burning as she flew toward the green fog. Since she had found it, it was her fortune. If she missed it, wouldn't it be a waste? No matter what the treasure was, she would take it first. It has been almost a month. The treasure should have been unearthed long ago. God Bai frowned slightly and flew around. He was very clear about the rules of the treasure realm. Every 3 days, the treasure would be unearthed. However, it was not that easy to find it. It required a certain amount of luck. Once the 1-month time limit was up and no one found the treasure, it meant it was not time for the treasure to be unearthed. When the time came, everyone would be kicked out of the treasure realm. 4-star treasure realm. It would be a pity if I missed it. God Bai sighed. Speeding through a vast mountain range, White God's eyes sparkled as he felt a sense of helplessness. After all, this kind of thing depended on the will of the heavens. He might not be able to find the treasure he wanted. His luck was not that good. It was even in the past month. He did not even see a ghost. This is strange. There are 5 keys, but there is not a single person. God Bai shook his head. He did not know that Lai Hu and Lu Bao, who had obtained the 2 keys, had already turned into ashes. As for Lin Feng, he was living in seclusion in the cave. In such a big treasure realm, only he and Qin Qianshan were left. It was normal that they did not find the treasure. The closer it is to the 1-month time limit, the longer the treasure will be unearthed. This is the best opportunity. I must not miss it. God Bai's eyes were bright and filled with determination. 2 years ago, he had obtained a 5-star numinous treasure by chance, and his strength had increased greatly. The power of the numinous treasure had made him even more determined. Strength was important, but external assistance was also indispensable. If I can obtain a control-type 4-star numinous treasure, my strength will definitely soar. The only reason I lost to Ji Xiao was because I lacked a single treasure. God Bai's eyes flashed. Although he was smiling on the surface, he was actually very concerned. Just as he was thinking, suddenly, boom! Rumble! In the distance there was a faint sound like an earthquake. God Bai stopped in his tracks. His eyes were wide open and his expression was shock. He was instantly ecstatic. It's unearthed. The treasure is finally unearthed. Over there. God Bai turned around abruptly and his eyes were burning. In an instant, he was like a sharp arrow piercing through the air, flying toward the place where the earthquake came from. In the cave. Rumble! Rumble! Rocks fell and landed on Lin Feng's head. They were immediately crushed into powder. Red starlight gathered. With the wooden staff as the medium, Lin Feng kept absorbing and cultivating the starlight. However, he had been in this position for almost a month. What's going on? The red starlight dissipated in an instant, and so did the light from the wooden staff. Lin Feng opened his eyes and felt the difference in his surroundings. His eyes were full of curiosity. Rocks kept falling from the top of the cave, and the fluctuations were extremely violent. This small cave seemed to be about to collapse. My head hurts. Lin Feng shook his head helplessly. In an instant, he turned into a stream of light and rushed out of the cave. If he didn't leave now, he would probably be buried alive in a while. He was about to break through to the 4th level of astral power, but the heavens seemed to be playing a joke on him. Hua! Lin Feng appeared at the entrance of the cave in an instant. At this moment there was a loud rumble in the cave. In the blink of an eye, the rocks at the entrance of the cave had blocked the entire cave. Lin Feng shook his head helplessly. It seems that I have to find another hidden place to cultivate. While he was muttering to himself, the earthquake in the distance didn't stop at all. It seemed to have a tendency of intensifying. Lin Feng frowned slightly, and his eyes revealed a hint of curiosity. Something seems to have happened over there? Since I'm out, let's go and take a look. Lin Feng nodded. Whoosh! Like a whirlwind, Lin Feng flashed past in an instant. Only these 2 updates for today. I can't write anymore. I'll write it again tomorrow morning at. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 495. Boom. Rumble. The earthquake shook the mountains, making everyone shudder with fear. The mountains seemed to have collapsed. Trees fell, and mud and rocks flew everywhere. The scene was extremely horrifying and spectacular. It was as if a natural disaster had arrived. However, in the middle of this mountain range, there was a dense green fog area, which gave off a feeling that it was out of place with the surroundings. But in fact, this was the true origin ground. In the valley covered by the thick green fog, there was a chaotic battle going on. The terrifying roars of beasts, the crazy sounds of fighting, and the continuous screams formed the main melody of the valley. The earth shook violently. The monsters that covered the sky and the earth launched suicidal attacks, one after another. The violent tremors were caused by this. In this chaotic battle, there was only one human figure. While dodging, she attacked fiercely. The dagger in her hand shone with a cold light. Every time the light gathered, it would cause the monsters to scream and blood to splatter. It was effortless. Although she was fighting against many, Qin Qianshan's strength was quite strong. Humph, bad guy. Who told you to bully me? Who told you to hide? Qin Qianshan scolded as she skillfully waved the dagger. The anger that had accumulated for nearly a month exploded at this moment. Lin Feng's face appeared in Qin Qianshan's mind. She was angry and worried. These monsters were obviously no match for her. Under Qin Qianshan's crazy killing, their numbers kept decreasing. But at the same time, Qin Qianshan's strength was also being consumed. Time passed slowly. Outside the valley. Over there. A white figure suddenly appeared in the distance. He was so fast that he looked like a white meteor. White God's eyes were filled with excitement. He looked at the hazy green fog and sped up again. He dove forward. Bai Shin's chest kept rising and falling. His body was surrounded by a white light. He was ready to fight. Whoosh! In the short moment when Bai Shin disappeared. In the air, a black figure appeared like a ghost. Lin Feng felt the tremors around him gradually weaken. He said softly, "Oh." Then, he looked at the thick green fog. Lin Feng was deep in thought. It seems it's almost over. The tremors just now should have been caused by the battle. I wonder what treasure it is. Let's go take a look. Lin Feng's lips curled into a smile. He was not as anxious as God White. Surrounded by a faint aura, Lin Feng maintained 50% of his speed as he flew towards the area covered by the thick green fog. To him, the treasures here it was just dispensable. Fierce battles were taking place in the canyon. Qin Qianshan's face was red and sweating profusely. The continuous fighting had greatly depleted her physical strength. At this moment, Qin Qianshan was gasping for breath when facing the last 3 monsters, and she was slightly powerless. This was especially true for the 100-meter-long monster in the middle. It had jade-green eyes and brown poisonous horns that flickered with a cold light. One look and one could tell that it was extremely poisonous. It was an extremely robust flood dragon. Its entire body was covered in scales, and its greenish-brown fangs were sinister and terrifying. If one was bitten by it, the consequences were unimaginable. Qin Qianshan held a dagger in one hand and bit her lip. With only one dagger left, her power was greatly affected. Every time the brown flood dragon swung its tail, the fierce wind would make her feel a little weak. The attack of the scaled tail was fast and fierce. It was like a long whip that kept striking. Qin Qianshan's weakest point was her strength. Not far away. Oh, that's... God White's eyes lit up. The youngest daughter of the Qin family, Qin Qianshan? Looking around, God White's eyes sparkled. He was extremely cautious. Seeing that there was no one around, the corners of his mouth could not help but curl into a slight smile. I thought my luck was so bad that I did not see any treasures for a month. Who would have thought? God gave me a chance to get both the fish and the bear's paw. This time, I want both the treasures and the person. Looking at the intense battle, White God had a faint smile on his face. He crossed his arms in front of his chest and was brimming with confidence. He looked like a thief who was looking for treasures. He was waiting for the best opportunity. Whoosh! Lin Feng's figure was like a ghost. Lin Feng's life spirit sensed everything around him. Light flashed between his eyebrows. It seems quite lively. Lin Feng floated in the air far away. The thick green fog blocked the fluctuation of aura, greatly reducing the range of his senses. But Lin Feng's strength was the strongest among the three. Qin Qianshan's aura has weakened a lot. The fluctuation of the battle should be from her. As for the other person, Lin Feng's eyes flickered as he pondered. They seemed to be observing the battle like him. Or they seemed to have other thoughts, but now he was not sure. His strength is on par with Qin Qianshan. But compared to Lai Hu, he is still a little weaker. Lin Feng nodded slightly as he understood. Let's observe first. Let's see what the situation is like. With his arms crossed, Lin Feng floated in the air. He was like an emperor, high and mighty. Looking down at everyone, Qin Qianshan was going all out. Her face was red as she took out a stack of golden halos. Her right elbow was glowing. Qin Qianshan's face was filled with radiance. As the brown flood dragon roared, Qin Qianshan's body glowed with golden light. Her surging astral power surged. Astral power, third gear. Qin Qianshan's eyes lit up. This time, in the cultivation state, her astral power that she had just improved could finally be put to use. She was going all out. Very good. Godbai's eyes glowed. A layer of transparent light rose from his hand and mist filled the air. It gave off a lively feeling as if it was alive. Godbai was a water-type martial god. Compared to the elite martial arts competition, you have improved a lot. But this is even better. White God smiled. His smile showed that he was very satisfied. At this moment, he had already regarded Qin Qianshan as his exclusive property and owned her. Almost there. Well, it should be enough. He witnessed the drastic change in the battle. He witnessed Qin Qianshan's full strength and gain the upper hand. The brown flood dragon was on the verge of death, and the white god's eyes lit up. Now, Godbai clenched his fists. He turned into a beam of white light. In an instant, he entered the battlefield. What he didn't know was, not far away in the thick green mist, a pair of faintly flickering eyes were looking down at the battle from above. Lin Feng's bright eyes showed that he was deep in thought. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly as he shook his head. It was just as he had expected. Whoosh, whoosh. Qin Qianshan kept attacking. The golden astral power around her gave her a strong power. She had the upper hand. The golden halos wrapped around the brown flood dragon's body. They turned into countless small halos and controlled the flood dragon. The brown flood dragon's movements were completely restrained as if it was tied up. It was more like an earthworm than a flood dragon. It no longer had the power to overturn rivers and seas. The dagger kept stabbing. The brown flood dragon roared and was about to go crazy. But its strength was limited. It was completely suppressed. Seriously injured, the brown flood dragon's roar was getting weaker and weaker. At this moment, the golden mist around Qin Qianqian was slowly dispersing. The astral power of the third level was not as good as that of the fourth level. It could be maintained for a while, but after the outburst soon it became mediocre. But it was enough. Go to hell, stinky dragon. Qin Qianqian bit her lips. Her full strength was enough to kill the flood dragon before her astral power ran out. But the other two monsters were starting to pose a threat to her. So annoying. Qin Qianqian frowned. She stabbed the dagger into the belly of the brown flood dragon and seriously injured it. However, the two monsters were already in hot pursuit. They opened their bloody mouths and madly chased after him with the intention of forming an encirclement. At this moment, whoosh! A white figure suddenly appeared. The white watery light condensed into a sword of light. God Bai's handsome face was full of sunshine. Whoosh! He chopped off the head of a monster with one slash. Blood splashed, but it was covered by a mist. God Bai descended like a heavenly soldier and landed not far away from Qin Qianqian. He nodded with a smile. I'm sorry, Miss Qianqian. I came too late and made you suffer. Qin Qianqian was overjoyed by God Bai's appearance. Thank you. Qin Qianqian smiled gently. His help had solved her urgent problem. Whoosh! The mist condensed again. God Bai's eyes shone brightly. There was a sense of holiness and pride in his eyes. His handsome face was enough to make a girl's heart flutter. He was extremely handsome. Strong water energy suddenly burst out and covered the other monster that was trying to attack. God Bai held a sword of light of water in his right hand and passed by Qin Qianqian like a knight. He stood in front of her and faced the disgusting monster. In an instant, he blocked it. At this moment, under Qin Qianqian's attack, the brown flood dragon was dying. It had no strength left. The shining horn was filled with light. It was condensed for the last attack. At this moment, God Bai was fighting and retreating. When Qin Qianqian entered the final battle, he had already retreated to a very close distance. Roar! The brown flood dragon let out a final roar. All of its power condensed on the horn. It frantically attacked for the last time. It condensed all of its life force. The dagger pierced through its throat. However, the intense light was completely released. It attacked everything around it indiscriminately. Boom! As if struck by lightning, Qin Qianqian gritted her teeth and blocked the attack. A light shield condensed in front of her. She tried her best to defend. At this moment, there was an anxious shout behind her. Be careful, Miss Qianqian. God Bai shouted in panic. Qin Qianqian was shocked. Her face turned pale. There was a monster behind her. It opened its mouth and emitted a strong stench. The strong stench made people dizzy. What was more strange was that there was a fragrance at the tip of her nose. It smells so good. What is this? Qin Qianqian's eyes were in a daze. Her consciousness gradually became blurry. Hold on, Miss Qianqian. The anxious shout was followed by God Bai's appearance. His expression was filled with anxiety. However, Qin Qianqian could not see that there were still remnants of white powder in his hand, and the corner of God White's mouth lifted slightly as he looked at the pair of bright eyes. Something happened today, so I came back late. There is one more update before 1 p.m. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 496. Bang! The water ball exploded. The monster's movements completely stopped at that moment. Qin Qianqian only felt that the ferocious monster in front of her opened its mouth and was about to swallow her. At that moment, God Bai arrived instantly like a heavenly soldier descending from the sky. Her blurry consciousness became more and more hazy. Qin Qianqian only felt that her breathing became rapid, and her blood flowed faster and faster. Suddenly, she felt an inexplicable chill all over her body. So hot! Why is it so hot? Qin Qianshan's body was burning, and there was an inexplicable dryness in her body. Her head was getting heavier, her limbs were weak, and her body was trembling slightly. She seemed to hear God Bai's anxious shouts, but Qin Qianshan's eyes were already hazy, and her consciousness was extremely blurry. Her entire body seemed to have been poisoned, and she was completely out of control. Her willpower was too weak. "Are you okay, Miss Qianshan? Miss Qianshan, what's wrong? Are you not feeling well?" God Bai's expression was extremely anxious, as if he was concerned about a loved one. His appearance was very vivid. However, Qin Qianshan, who was gradually losing her mind, could not see the faint craftiness in God Bai's eyes. There was a hint of satisfaction from his scheme succeeding. First, he gained Qin Qianshan's trust, then he schemed against her. The entire process was flawless. It was easy to kill Qin Qianshan. It was even easier to drug her. However, it was extremely difficult to make her trust him completely and drug her. This required extraordinary wisdom and perfect judgment of the situation. And this was what God Bai was best at. Qin family's little girl, haha, so gullible. God Bai's lips curled into a faint smile. At that moment, Qin Qianshan's body was completely numb, and she was trembling non-stop. He could feel that she was trying her best to control herself. But how can you resist the effects of Love Valley's virgin flame? God Bai thought to himself, and there was a hint of lust in his eyes. Even the most chaste woman will become a virgin if she breathes in just a little bit. Ah! God Bai wanted to laugh out loud. Looking at Qin Qianshan's appearance, he felt an indescribable pleasure in his heart. But at that moment, he had to complete the act. In order to play his role well, God Bai tried his best to control his lust and care for Qin Qianshan. This kind of woman, as long as I get her and coax her, haha, it's easy. When it came to women, White God understood them very well. When others saw him, he always looked like an elegant gentleman, like a handsome scholar. However, no one knew what the real him was like. Countless imperial concubines. In terms of experience, White God was extremely rich. Noble and unruly? After a while, I will make you abandon all of them. At that time, you will be dominated by the most primitive desires. You will beg me and let me satisfy you. I, God Bai, will definitely become the son-in-law of the Qin clan. He could not help but laugh out loud as he watched Qin Qianshan gradually lose consciousness and lose his mind. White God no longer needed to act, nor did he need to restrain his desires. No matter how loud he laughed or how vulgar his words were, Qin Qianshan would not have any memory or perception. This was because at this moment, the medicinal effect had completely merged with her blood and was truly beginning to take effect. Maiden Blaze. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Looking at Qin Qianshan, whose body had shrunk and whose face was so red that it seemed like juice was about to drip out, White God laughed loudly. The pressure in his heart was completely released, and the resentment from his defeat in the elite martial arts competition was completely vented. And at this moment, is it that funny? A faint voice rang out. In an instant, White God's expression changed drastically, and his eyes were filled with shock. The voice pierced his ears, as if it was far away and close at the same time. At such a close distance, he could not sense the other party. Perhaps it was because of his negligence, but the other party was extremely powerful. White God's expression changed as he shouted angrily, "Who is it?" Anyone who was peeped on without knowing whether the other party was a dragon or a snake would inevitably feel a chill in their heart. What's the point of being sneaky? If you are a man, come out and talk. White God gritted his teeth and shouted, but his embarrassment turned into anger. Suddenly, as if he had sensed something, White God suddenly turned around and looked at the green fog in the distance. Ta, ta. The light footsteps had a unique rhythm. The footsteps were very steady, as if they would not change even if the sky collapsed. In the thick fog, the black figure gradually flashed. White God's eyes became colder and colder. He had already gathered water energy in his hands, suppressing his killing intent and enduring it. At this moment, the black figure's faint voice rang out again. "If I am not a man, then, doing such a despicable thing, what are you?" With a disdainful voice, Lin Feng slowly stepped out, looking straight at White God with a faint disdain. Disdain for his personality. "Are you considered a human?" Lin Feng smiled coldly. This sanctimonious martial artist in front of him made him feel disgusted. White God's gaze changed slightly, emitting a cold light. "Just now you saw it all?" Lin Feng looked at Qin Qianqian, who was lying on the ground, and sighed in his heart. To be honest, he didn't want to have too much to do with her. The scene of him killing Lu Bao a month ago was still vivid in his mind. Even though he didn't suffer too much damage, anyone who was ruthlessly stabbed by a knife would still feel uncomfortable in his heart. But after all, he could not leave her in the lurch. Not to mention that Qin Qianqian's identity was entrusted to him by Sima Shi. In such a situation, facing such a heartless slut and a weak woman, he could not turn a blind eye. He had to help when he should. Even if it brought him, perhaps, it was a problem. Antidote. Lin Feng stretched out his right hand and said indifferently. White God looked at Lin Feng and smiled coldly. "I was wondering who it was. Isn't this the famous Lin Wen from the Tsayu sect? Why, you want to get involved in this matter." Facing Lin Feng, White God was not afraid at all. He suddenly patted his chest and said proudly, "I advise you to mind your own business. Do you know who my master is? Let me tell you, listen carefully. My master is—" "Nonsense!" Lin Feng shouted. Bang! The nightmare demon's spear on his back was pulled out, bringing with it a bright cold light. Seeing that Qin Qianqian was deeply poisoned, Lin Feng was too lazy to talk nonsense with this scum in front of him. Wasting his breath. "You!" White God's face darkened, looking extremely ugly. At this moment Lin Feng moved. Emperor Shun's Qi. Lin Feng's eyes shone coldly. A milky white aura wrapped around his body, releasing an astonishing power. He attacked immediately, not giving White God any chance to speak. Whether he handed over the antidote or not, the result was the same to him. He would die without a doubt. Scum! A deep angry voice sounded. The appearance of the black fog enveloped the entire space. White God's heart shook fiercely, as if his body had sunk into a swamp. White God's reaction speed was indeed fast. His eyes were cold, and an astonishing aura instantly spread from his hands. "Phosphorescent ball!" White God shouted. In an instant, White God's body was covered with an intense phosphorescent light. That feeling of spatial isolation was similar to Li Ming's independent domain that day. The only difference was, this phosphorescent ball completely covered White God like a battle suit. It was a combination of support and defense. White God's eyes were filled with pride. He was very confident in his spiritual treasure. Ever since he obtained the phosphorescent ball 2 years ago, he had won almost every battle. He had only lost once, and that was when he lost to Ji Xia in the elite martial competition. It wasn't that he was weak, but that their strengths countered each other. Now that he was facing Lin Feng, White God was still confident. But White God had obviously overestimated himself and underestimated Lin Feng. The Lin Feng in front of him was no longer the Lin Feng he saw in the elite martial competition. In the short time since he entered the Green Smoke secret realm, Lin Feng had already transformed. Whoosh! In the black fog, Lin Feng was like a phantom. Even if White God's speed wasn't affected, the black fog's buff to Lin Feng was real. Not to mention that the 4-star C state Lin Feng's body was already comparable to a 6-star C state. With the black fog's buff, He was almost at the 7th star sea state. The difference between a 4th star sea state white god and a 4th star sea state was huge. Where is he? White god was completely stunned. His handsome face was filled with disbelief. He could only hear the sound of something breaking through the air, but there was no sign of Lin Feng. It was really strange. He couldn't imagine that it was because the difference in speed between the two was too big. White god clenched his teeth and shouted, "Water mist!" Instantly, a layer of water mist condensed around his body to protect him, adding a layer of protection. However, the sense of danger grew stronger and stronger, and he became more and more cautious. In this black fog, White God couldn't see Lin Feng at all. It was as if he was hiding in the darkest corner, full of danger at all times. Sweat kept dripping from White God's forehead. His eyes were clear. In the blink of an eye, he was controlled. "No, I can't wait any longer." White God was terrified. In an instant, his star power fluctuated. Lin Feng still hadn't appeared, but White God had lost his patience. The crazy star power fluctuation made White God's body expand suddenly, and the energy of the water mist became denser. At this moment, whoosh! In the darkness, a black shadow appeared from time to time. How is this possible? White God felt Lin Feng's speed, and his face was filled with shock. In an instant, he entered the water mist. The white gang chi that covered his entire body was unstoppable, as if it was made of rotten wood. How can he be so powerful? White God was completely shocked. His star power had just reached a critical point, and it didn't go up or down. Swish! The sharp spear light pierced through everything. Go to hell. Lin Feng's expression was calm, but there was a strong killing intent. Although he didn't know this warrior in front of him, what he had done was enough to make him hate him even if he killed him a few times. He didn't show any mercy. Only killing. Storm spear art. Lin Feng's eyes flashed coldly, and he attacked with all his strength. Qin Qianqian was deeply poisoned. He had to end the battle quickly. A strong storm attacked White God, who was terrified. Lin Feng's attack speed was far beyond his imagination. The astral power burst out with a loud bang. The phosphorescent balls that surrounded White God's body were instantly shattered. Lin Feng's spear was like a ferocious dragon, rushing in and aiming at White God's chest. Kill. No! White God's face was distorted, and he still wanted to resist. However, Lin Feng's timing was too perfect. It landed on White God's weakest point. Even if the star power's explosion greatly increased White God's defense, Lin Feng's attack was too terrifying. Swish! A strong storm destroyed everything. Lin Feng's nightmare demon spear was like the scythe of the Grim Reaper. It fell. Blood splattered. White God's shrill cry was terrifying. However, it couldn't stop the strong killing intent from spreading. At this moment, Lin Feng's strength was fully unleashed. Without any resistance, the nightmare demon spear pierced White God's heart. The power gathered at the tip of the spear instantly exploded. Bang! In an instant, everything was quiet. Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly, but his expression didn't change at all. He turned around and put away the nightmare demon spear. Without stopping for a moment, Lin Feng's body flashed, and he appeared in front of Qin Qianqian. In an instant, a fragrant wind blew. Before Lin Feng could stand firm, he felt a warm jade hug. It was filled with extreme heat and temperature, as if it was going to melt him. What was going on? To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 497. But there was still one last line of defense left. He had yet to cross over the lightning pool. Even so, it was already quite shocking. Qin Qianqian's perfect upper body was imprinted in his eyes. Lin Feng instantly felt his mouth dry up and closed his eyes. Hua. He retreated swiftly. Lin Feng's strong willpower and temperament allowed him to hold on to the last line of defense. If he took advantage of Qin Qianqian, he would never forgive himself. Boom! Guarding his mind, Lin Feng's eyes were extremely deep. The flame of rebirth was boiling in his body, circulating around his body like a guard, patrolling every corner and every place. The burning sensation gradually weakened. At this moment, the hot body outside his body hugged tightly. However, Lin Feng remained motionless like a statue. Again and again, the flame of rebirth cleaned the unnecessary existence in his body. It was diligent and did not leave anything out. The medicinal effect was gradually removed. Lin Feng clenched his teeth and finally survived this calamity. Wing! Lin Feng's glabella flashed with anger. In a split second, Wing's figure appeared in front of him, swaying gently and looking extremely happy. "So fast, boss," Wing said in surprise. "Fast your head." No matter how good Lin Feng's self-restraint was, he could not help but reprimand. Wing's self-assertion almost caused him to be consigned to eternal damnation. Even now he was afraid that it would become a mess. "Boss, you," Wing said in surprise. "Antidote, quick." Lin Feng frowned and said solemnly. Although he was angry at Wing, he knew that Wing had a child's temperament. He could not be calculative. Moreover, Wing had saved his life many times. Now, it was not the time to settle the score. Wing saw Lin Feng's expression but did not dare to say anything. The branch wrapped around the small purple bottle and sent it over. Lin Feng took it and said angrily, "Go back now. I'll settle the score with you later." Hee, alright, boss." Seeing that Lin Feng was not really angry, Wing could not help but feel happy. Once again, it released an enchanting fragrance, but it was unknown whether it was intentional or not. In a split second, red-green light flickered, and Wing disappeared from where he was. "This guy." Lin Feng sniffed the fragrance and felt a little moved, but he also felt helpless. Indeed, it was because he was too easy to talk to that Wing had become so lawless. At this moment, Qin Qianqian's reaction was even more intense. However, as the small purple pill entered his mouth, it was like a clear spring flowing into his body. Qin Qianqian's body slowly cooled down, and his complexion slowly recovered. Lin Feng heaved a long sigh of relief when he saw that the temperature of the beauty in his arms had gradually decreased and her breathing had stabilized. Finally, half of the trouble was dealt with. As for the rest, sigh. Lin Feng shook his head, but he didn't know what to do. Qin Qianqian's eyelashes fluttered. Her delicate breath carried a hint of coyness, as if she had just woken up from a beautiful dream. Her long and slender eyelashes revealed a sense of beauty. They gently opened and a hazy color rose. How did I fall asleep? What's going on? Doubts appeared in his mind, and Qin Qianqian only felt dizzy. She had been poisoned for a longer time than Lin Feng, and the strong medicinal effects had already taken effect. Not only did it affect her body but it also affected her mind. In a dazed state, Qin Qianqian had lost her consciousness at the breakpoint. Until now, Qin Qianqian still hadn't regained her senses. Imprinted in her eyes was a familiar figure, looking at her indifferently. Qin Qianqian blinked with concern on his face, and in an instant she saw clearly. It was the person she had been worried about for a long time, Lin Wen. Qin Qianqian shouted anxiously, but she saw Lin Feng's naked upper body, revealing his bronze skin. She immediately blushed and reprimanded him. Although Qin Qianqian was usually a little careless, she was still a virgin after all. She shyly reprimanded him and lowered her head. Suddenly, a hysterical scream broke through the clouds. Lin Feng revealed a bitter smile, looking at Qin Qianqian, who was wearing his clothes, in front of him. Her beautiful face was completely pale, and he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Her mind was in a mess. Facing such a situation, Qin Qianqian had completely lost the ability to think. She couldn't even speak a complete sentence at the moment. Her **** was empty, and she didn't know where the clothes were. The thin shirt was also gone, and the outer shirt had changed into Lin Feng's black short-sleeved shirt. She could vaguely smell a man's scent. The loose clothes tightly covered her exquisite body. Qin Qianqian's chest was moving up and down, and her mind was completely blank. This matter. Lin Feng stepped forward, wanting to explain. But, no, don't come over, Qin Qianqian exclaimed. She looked at Lin Feng as if she was looking at a demon, full of fear. Tears fell down, full of a delicate and pitiful look, but it was unbearable, and he couldn't say a word. Sigh. Lin Feng sighed softly. This matter had already become a mess. No matter what, he had kissed and touched her. Except for the last step, he had done everything. He couldn't shirk the responsibility. You. Lin Feng frowned slightly. Calm down first. Think about it slowly, and see how much you can remember, Lin Feng said softly. It was useless to say more now. It was better to let Qin Qianqian calm down first and calm herself down. Lin Feng quietly walked to the side and closed his eyes. He knew very well that Qin Qianqian was like an injured rabbit, and she was already a frightened bird. He couldn't provoke her any more. Time passed slowly. Lin Feng wasn't in a hurry. The new skin grew in just a few seconds, and Qin Qianqian widened her eyes in shock. You're just a victim in this whole matter. Lin Feng's eyes flickered, and he nodded. Looking at Qin Qianqian, Lin Feng gently took the dagger from her hand. Now, can we calm down and have a good talk? He was responsible for Qin Qianqian. Only 2 chapters, resuming tomorrow. If you like this work, you're welcome to vote for it at Qidian. Calm. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 498. Qin Qianqian pursed her lips and answered softly. She lowered her head and did not dare to look at Lin Feng. Qin Qianqian only felt ashamed and awkward. Soon, Lin Feng briefly explained what had happened to him. Qin Qianqian was shocked, and her eyes widened in disbelief. Her memory had long become blurry, and she couldn't remember everything that had happened before. She couldn't remember the sequence of events that had happened. However, with Lin Feng's explanation, Qin Qianqian's memories started to come back bit by bit. The result made her extremely shocked and in disbelief. It's him. Qin Qianqian bit her lips and looked at God Bai, who was dead. She did not expect him to do such a thing. This is his storage ring. Lin Feng's face was expressionless as he handed the small purple bottle to Qin Qianqian. This bottle of poison powder was found in his storage ring. If I am not wrong, you were poisoned because you inhaled this powder. Qin Qianqian's hands trembled as she took the storage ring and the purple bottle. She opened the bottle cap, and a familiar fragrance entered her nose. Qin Qianqian's expression changed. It's this smell. Qin Qianqian bit her lips, and her eyes were filled with shame and anger. She thought it was the monster's poison, but she did not expect God Bai to kill her. Based on what Lin Feng said, God White had approached her on purpose, with a plan. First, he helped her to lower her guard. Then, he used the monster to deceive everyone and create this accident. She was still stupid and fell into the trap. If Lin Feng had not saved her, she was betrayed and still helped count the money. She was so embarrassed. Qin Qianqian's face turned red and white, and she did not dare to look at Lin Feng. Actually, it's not your fault. You are too naive and soft-hearted, Lin Feng said. That day, Qin Qianqian was moved by Lv Bao's words and pleaded for him. It was because of her personality. Moreover, this white god's scheming was indeed scary. Other martial artists would have fallen for it, let alone the innocent and soft-hearted Qin Qianqian. Although this medicinal effect is strong, most cultivators can still resist it. Lin Feng said softly. At that time, you were trapped by the Flood Dragon's final attack and concentrated all your strength. In addition, White God borrowed the other monster's strength to attack you. That's why you were ambushed. Indeed, although the medicinal effect of this powder was strong, it was not that scary. Qin Shanshan's face flushed red. The more he thought about it, the more he felt ashamed and angry. Qin Shanshan's chest rose and fell slightly. The unsightly scene of him acting like a prostitute appeared in his mind again. Qin Shanshan only felt his forehead burning. He glanced at White God, who was not far away, and all his resentment immediately condensed. Like a whirlwind, Qin Shanshan's figure flashed. Beast in human clothing. Refined scum! I hate you! Qin Shanshan's hands exploded with energy, and one energy bullet after another shot out of his hands. Qin Shanshan's face flushed red, and tears flowed from her eyes. He did not know whether it was out of shame, anger, or regret. He attacked again and again to vent his anger. He wanted nothing more than to kill White God 1,000 times, 10,000 times. Indeed, for a girl, the most important thing was innocence. Sighing softly, Lin Feng stood calmly. He looked at Qin Shanshan's venting attacks with bright eyes. In truth, he was not much better off than her. Although Qin Shanshan did not blame him, his conscience was indeed uneasy. Although this entire matter was caused by Wing, a mistake was a mistake. This was not a reason. Let her vent her emotions first, Lin Feng thought. Looking at Qin Shanshan's appearance, he felt a little guilty. Boom! Boom! Intense energy bombarded the ground. A huge crater appeared. At this time, White God had been blasted to the point that not even a speck of dust remained. However, Qin Shanshan did not stop. She floated in the air with tears in her eyes. Her small hands released astral energy balloons like crazy, again and again, over and over again, until she used up all her strength and sat down on the ground as if she had collapsed. Looking at the huge, semicircular crater and the desolation, Qin Shanshan recalled the grievances she had suffered. In an instant, she cried bitterly. No matter what, she was still a little girl. Looking at the crying Qin Shanshan, Lin Feng had mixed feelings. This time, it was much more serious than Xian Er's. Qin Shanshan's memory might be a little fuzzy, but however, he remembered it clearly. Under the influence of the medicine, he had seen, touched, and touched every inch of Qin Shanshan's skin. He could even smell the faint fragrance on his body. It belonged to Qin Shanshan. Just now, he had truly experienced a crazy storm of love and lust. It could be said that he had done everything except the last step. On the other hand, the instigator, White God, could only watch helplessly. He had taken the blame and done nothing. Qin Shanshan's innocence was indeed tainted by me. This is an undeniable fact. No matter what the reason is, as a man, I have to take responsibility. Lin Feng closed his eyes and sighed softly. Perhaps he did not have any feelings for Qin Shanshan, but for many things, responsibility was heavier than feelings. He could not escape from it. Actually, I have a lot of responsibility for the whole thing. Lin Feng suddenly spoke and looked at Qin Shanshan. Qin Shanshan, who was tired from crying, looked up at Lin Feng with confusion in her eyes. Pursing his lips lightly, Lin Feng looked directly into Qin Shanshan's eyes with bright eyes. Actually, I only wanted to look for the antidote, but... Lin Feng paused and hesitated for a moment. Then, he decided to hide the matter about Wing. I accidentally inhaled that small purple bottle of powder. That's why everything happened after that. Qin Shanshan blushed and lowered her head, as if she was afraid of Lin Feng's gaze. Lin Feng frowned. Since he had taken this step, he did not hesitate anymore. Although White God was the one who drugged me, he was killed by me before he could make any dirty moves. I am the one who tainted your innocence. I have to take full responsibility for the whole thing. Lin Feng's eyes were burning. He walked towards Qin Qianshan with determination and persistence. Qin Qianshan was shocked. She looked at Lin Feng, who was walking towards her, and felt nervous. She clenched her fists and did not know where to put them. Step. Lin Feng's footsteps landed. Looking at Qin Qianshan, who was sitting on the ground, Lin Feng's eyes were shining. He reached out his right hand and said softly, "If you are willing, I hope I can take responsibility for you." His voice was not loud, but it was firm and there was no hesitation in it. Looking at the pitiful Qin Qianshan in front of him, Lin Feng felt pity for her. He was the one who caused the whole thing. You. Qin Qianshan's face turned red. She lowered her head, not daring to look at Lin Feng. Her heart raced like a little deer, pounding non-stop. How could she not understand Lin Feng's meaning? Qin Qianshan's face turned red when she thought of the unsightly memory. Although the memory was very vague, when the memory was pieced together, it was full of the intimate intertwining between the two of them. Touching and licking. Qin Qianshan felt her body heat up when she thought of that scene. She had kept her body for 16 years and had never been touched by another man, but she had given it to him. At this moment, Qin Qianshan's impression of Lin Feng had completely changed. She was not stupid. She understood the whole thing very clearly. Lin Feng was not responsible, but he still did it without hesitation. It was indeed very touching. Lin Feng's eyes were bright as he looked at the changing expression of the beauty in front of him. He knew very well that the whole thing had a huge impact on Qin Qianshan. Moreover, what they were discussing now it was a lifelong matter. She did need some time to think about it, but no matter whether Qin Qianshan accepted it or not, he would be responsible for her until the end. Because this was a man's promise. He waited quietly. Lin Feng's right hand was stretched out like a vine on the cliff, waiting for Qin Qianshan to grab it. The atmosphere was a little tense. Qin Qianshan lowered her head and did not dare to look at Lin Feng. Time passed slowly. It was very short but also very long. Until it was a very long hug. It was like the end of time and the end of time. It was only when the delicate body in his arms stopped trembling that Lin Feng's lips curled into a faint smile. At this moment, Qin Qianshan had truly accepted him. "I will take care of you in the future. I will never let you get hurt again," Lin Feng said softly. Feeling the delicate body in his arms that was as soft as a mosquito, Lin Feng let go of her. Qin Qianshan tilted her head slightly. Her pretty face was red and she looked very cute. The loose clothes on her body showed the ambiguous relationship between the two of them. Looking at the beautiful woman in front of him, Lin Feng felt a deep sense of pity. Although he had not known Qin Qianshan for long, and they did not have deep feelings for each other. But in the future, she would be his. Although it was fate that made a fool of people, wasn't this also a kind of fate? Can't stop, let's stop. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 499. Whoosh! A bright light flashed in front of him. A majestic force came, filled with heavenly might. It was unstoppable. Thud! Lin Feng landed on the ground and felt dizzy. At this moment, Qin Qianshan appeared. However, she was far weaker than Lin Feng. She felt as though she was about to fall from the sky. Qin Qianshan had used up too much energy when she was venting. In addition, the effects of the medicine had just dissipated. Her body was already weak. However, Lin Feng obviously wouldn't be so heartless. Lin Feng shifted his body slightly and hugged Qin Qianshan's waist. They landed gently on the ground. Qin Qianshan blushed. She couldn't help but recall their passionate kiss. She shyly buried her head in Lin Feng's arms. Lin Feng couldn't help but laugh. He put Qin Qianshan down. "You don't even want to stand?" "Of course not." Qin Qianshan pouted coquettishly. They looked at each other and couldn't help but smile. The awkwardness and unfamiliarity between them disappeared. A kiss sealed their love. By the way, how did we get out? Lin Feng was slightly surprised. It's all your fault. Qin Qianshan blushed and pouted. It's not easy for a treasure to be unearthed. We still had some time. Who asked you to? Qin Qianshan bit her lips and blushed. She looked even more shy and beautiful. Lin Feng was enlightened. He couldn't help but smile. It was as if he had missed out on a treasure because of the kiss earlier. However, it didn't matter. It's okay. I got more. Lin Feng smiled. Qin Qianshan blushed and pouted coquettishly. There was a hidden meaning in his words. After pondering for a while, Lin Feng took out a translucent teardrop-shaped jade stone from his purple ring. It was translucent and shone with a strange light. Qin Qianshan's eyes widened. She covered her mouth. Wow, it's so beautiful! This is for you. Lin Feng handed it to Qin Qianshan. He didn't have anything too precious on him, except for this jade stone. Back then, he had obtained it in the 100 Falls ancient ruins. Up until now, he had no idea what it was used for. However, just by looking at the wooden staff, he could imagine how precious this jade was. This is... Qin Qianshan's beautiful eyes flashed. Tears of Spacetime, Lin Feng said with a smile. It's a very nice name. Qin Qianshan pursed her lips and said shyly. She understood what it meant for Lin Feng to give her this tear of spacetime. A token of love. I will definitely take good care of it. Qin Qianshan nodded forcefully as she gazed at Lin Feng. She mustered up her courage and swiftly stood on her tiptoes to lightly kiss Lin Feng's lips like a dragonfly skimming the surface of the water, and she was extremely shy. Lin Feng smiled. Aren't you afraid that it's worthless? I'm not afraid. Qin Qianshan smiled and shook her head. To her, money was just a worldly possession. With the Qin clan's wealth, it was more than enough to buy the entire Green Smoke City, not to mention a mere spiritual treasure. The most important thing was the thought. Actually, I don't know what this is either. I only know it should be very valuable. Lin Feng shrugged and smiled. You don't know what it is, but it's very valuable? Qin Qianshan couldn't help but laugh. Who doesn't know what they have on them? As she spoke, she picked up the tear of spacetime and looked it up and down. Qin Qianshan frowned slightly. It doesn't look like a spiritual treasure, nor does it look like a soul weapon. Suddenly, Qin Qianshan's expression changed as she exclaimed, could it be? Lin Feng also showed a hint of curiosity. He looked at Qin Qianshan and saw the golden star energy in her hand shining brightly. In an instant, the tear of spacetime in her hand shone brightly, turning into a brilliant light that imprinted itself 3 inches below her neck, condensing a faint luster. This is? Lin Feng was surprised. He didn't expect Qin Qianshan to be able to activate this tear of spacetime. Wow, this really is an astral treasure. Qin Qianshan felt a wave of excitement. An astral treasure? Lin Feng showed a curious expression. From the name and what Qin Qianshan had done just now, it seemed to have something to do with star energy. Lin Degu, this gift is too valuable. Qin Qianshan bit her lip lightly. As a golden starlight flickered, the 3 inches below her neck suddenly shone brightly. The tear of spacetime immediately turned into jade and returned to Qin Qianshan's hand. At this moment, Qin Qianshan finally understood what Lin Feng meant by valuable. Astral treasures couldn't be bought in Yanling Prefecture, no matter how much money one had. Looking at the tear of spacetime that Qin Qianshan returned, Lin Feng couldn't help but laugh. How can you take back a gift that you've given? As he spoke, Lin Feng gently grasped Qin Qianshan's delicate hand and held it tightly. He held the tears of time and space tightly. Unless you regret it? Qin Qianshan was shocked and quickly withdrew her right hand. I don't regret it. Qin Qianshan's face was red. She suddenly felt embarrassed and said coquettishly, "Then I'll really accept it." "Take it." Lin Feng smiled. Even though he didn't know what an astral treasure was, this tier of spacetime didn't have much fate with him. Since he obtained it until now, it still hadn't made the slightest movement, unlike that wooden staff that had already become his most powerful assistant. Qin Qianshan slightly raised her nose and happily accepted the tier of spacetime. She felt sweet in her heart. To be able to give such a valuable item to her, it was enough to show that Lin Feng was sincere to her. This was more valuable than the gift itself, it made her feel happy. "Right, Qianshan, what's an astral treasure?" Lin Feng suddenly asked. Qin Qianshan was stunned. She opened her eyes wide and looked at Lin Feng as if she didn't know him. "Linda Gu, you really don't know?" She thought that Lin Feng was joking with her, but it didn't seem like it. Lin Feng shook his head. He really didn't know. "Actually, I don't know much either. Master told me." Qin Qianshan said softly, "Astral treasures are of a higher level than spirit treasures. They are controlled by astral energy and require a lot of astral energy. Most astral treasures can only be used by Star Lords. Only some low-level astral treasures can be used at Star Ocean level. But even the lowest-level astral treasures are much more valuable than 9-star spirit treasures." Qin Qianshan's beautiful eyes sparkled as she added. Lin Feng instantly understood and nodded. It wasn't hard to understand. Clearly, astral treasures were the advancement of spirit treasures. His heart was immediately moved. Lin Feng's hands glowed, and he instantly took out a wooden staff with a unique pattern. "Linda Gu, this is?" Qin Qianshan's eyes widened. "Maybe it's also an astral treasure." Lin Feng's eyes were burning. He didn't see that Qin Qianshan was already completely stunned. Closing his eyes, Lin Feng instantly felt the existence of astral energy. In the past month of cultivation, although he hadn't reached the 4th level of astral energy, his astral control had reached the 1st level. It was very easy to reach the 1st level. That day, Ding Hong's astral control was the 1st level, but it was still very far from controlling astral energy. However, with the 1st level of astral control, he could already sense astral energy under normal conditions. Wow! Astral energy spread out. Lin Feng's eyes were extremely bright. He could completely sense the existence of the wooden staff. It was like a small life, giving him a feeling of intelligence. He had never had such a strong sensing ability before. It was even better than when he was cultivating. Lin Feng was pleasantly surprised. It really was an astral treasure. "Qianshan, do you know how to use an astral treasure?" Lin Feng asked. Qin Qianshan instantly woke up and shook her head. "I'm not too sure. I heard from Master that it's awakened with astral energy, then it's infused with blood." Lin Feng's eyes were burning. He didn't hesitate at all. He cut his finger. Blood dripped onto the wooden staff. However, the blood fell onto the wooden staff. It didn't infuse, but dripped down. Lin Feng felt that the wooden staff seemed to have a kind of unpleasant feeling. It was very strange. "This is?" Lin Feng frowned. "Linda Gu, your astral energy isn't strong enough," Qin Qianshan said softly. Lin Feng immediately understood. He remembered that Qin Qianshan had mentioned it before. Most astral treasures could only be used by astral lords. Astral treasures had a huge requirement for astral energy. Just like the Emperor Shun's strategy. Only by becoming stronger could one cultivate the next level. The same principle. Smiling helplessly, Lin Feng put away the wooden staff. Although he still couldn't truly use the wooden staff, at least he knew what it was. Astral treasure, Lin Feng thought. He was looking forward to it. I wonder what the true ability of this wooden staff is. Just by being a bridge, it was already irreplaceable for him. And this wasn't its true power. Their relationship was set. Lin Feng and Qin Qianqian went from strangers to familiar, then from familiar to closer and closer. In this strange place, the two of them were together all the time. Their originally dull days seemed to be full of life, and they were quite harmonious. Like a young couple, they lived in seclusion in the forest. In this quiet place, Lin Feng focused on cultivating. He was trying to reach the 4th level of astral energy. Although the effect of cultivating here wasn't as good as the treasure realm, it wasn't easy to open a treasure realm. From Qianqian, Lin Feng learned the rules of the 3rd secret realm. You had to gather enough keys to open the treasure realm. This required a lot of luck. Normal 3-star treasures needed 3 keys. 4-star treasures needed 4 keys. And so on. Obviously, the more valuable the treasure, the more keys it needed. In other words, it was more difficult to gather all the keys. Moreover, even if you gathered all the treasures and entered the treasure realm, you still had to face competition from other warriors. Moreover, it was very difficult to wait until the treasure was unearthed. Last time, Qin Qianqian only found the treasure when the 1-month time limit was almost up. It was too tiring. Perhaps to other warriors and sects, these treasures were very precious. But to Lin Feng and Qin Qianqian, they were useless. The chances of getting something good were too small. Instead of wasting time, it was better to focus on cultivating. Or spar with each other, swim in the mountains, and so on. Lin Feng and Qin Qianqian's relationship was getting better and better. Most of the time, only when you really got along with each other could you discover the good in each other. As time passed, the time limit of the 3rd secret realm was almost up. At this time, Lin Feng's cultivation finally paid off. His astral energy had reached the 4th level. Author's note. Life is always colorful, haha, the mother-in-law of the little Hunan province is here. What a headache. If you like this work, you're welcome to vote for me at Chidian.com. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 500. The ball of star power was condensed. The light source at the center of the ball could no longer be seen. The red starlight went through the wooden staff and into Lin Feng's body, pouring into his body and solidifying. Lin Feng sat cross-legged like an old monk in meditation. The red light circled around his body, giving off a dazzling light. His entire being gave off a sacred feeling, as if he was the son of starlight, noble and arrogant. Inside his human soul, the red mist had been condensed to the extreme without any gaps. As the light spots gathered, the rich and abundant star power started to condense. It was a solid state like a star, a relatively more stable energy structure. The bright red light emitted a simple luster, like the transition of a boy to a man, giving off a mature feeling. Lin Feng opened his eyes with a swoosh. His eyes were bright and clear. What appeared in front of him was a beautiful face, looking at him with her eyes wide open. You broke through, Lindigo? Qin Qianqian's beautiful eyes twinkled. Yes. Lin Feng nodded with a smile. Breaking through from the 3rd to the 4th level of star power was a big change. Qin Qianqian, who cultivated with him every day, naturally felt it. Wow, that's great. Qin Qianqian jumped over happily, full of joy. She hugged Lin Feng tightly and kissed him passionately. The two had been together for more than 10 days. They were like normal lovers, sweet and warm. When their lips parted, Lin Feng smiled. What time is it now, Qianqian? Less than half a day, Lindigo. Qin Qianqian snuggled in Lin Feng's arms like a little bird. She murmured softly, with a hint of laziness and reluctance in her voice. I really want to stay here and be with you every day, Lindigo. Qin Qianqian was in love for the first time. She was like a little girl in love. Don't forget that Senior Sima is waiting for us at the Fierce Yen sect. Lin Feng smiled. Well, if Master and Senior Brother knew that we were together, they would definitely be shocked. Qin Qianqian covered her mouth and chuckled. Indeed. Lin Feng nodded. Even he had never thought that such a change would occur in a short span of 2 months. One must know that before entering the green smoke mystery realm, Qin Qianqian did not find him pleasing to the eye. Now that things had changed, it was truly unexpected. It was fate that made fools of people. Lin De Go, are you looking down on Qianqian? Qin Qianqian buried her head in Lin Feng's arms and hugged him tightly, as if she was afraid that she would lose him in the blink of an eye. Qin Qianqian still felt his cheeks burning when he thought of her debauched behavior and how she had taken the initiative to seduce Lin Feng that day. How could that be? Don't overthink it. Lin Feng gently stroked Qin Qianqian's hair and said softly. He knew very well what the little lass was thinking. This matter had already become a knot in her heart. It could even be said that it was a shadow. There was no other way. He could only slowly erase it with the passage of time. Let's go. Lin Feng smiled and stood up. Ah? Where are we going, Lin De Go? Qin Qianqian asked in surprise. Don't you want to go out and play? Lin Feng smiled and extended his right hand. Instantly, Qin Qianqian grabbed Lin Feng's right hand like a cheerful bird. She laughed and said, Don't regret it. Lin De Go, let's go. Then, she could not wait to pull Lin Feng and flew away. Looking at Qin Qianqian, who seemed to have not grown up, Lin Feng smiled and followed. Time flew by like a white steed flitting by a crack. The 2-month journey in the green smoke mystery realm had finally come to an end. At the center of the green smoke martial city, outside the green smoke mystery realm, many warriors went in and out. It was very lively and bustling. The eyes of the warriors who entered were all burning with anticipation. They hoped to get some green smoke rocks or treasures. However, most of the warriors who came out were gloomy. They returned with disappointment. Only a small number of lucky people could benefit from the green smoke mystery realm. Swoosh! A bright light flashed. Lin Feng and Qin Qianqian walked out hand in hand. In the green smoke mystery realm, it was easy to get lost if they did not hold hands. In a split second, there was a burst of exclamations around them. Qin Qianqian's beauty was unparalleled in the green smoke city. Her appearance was like a bright lamp that always attracted people's attention. Wow! My goddess Qin Qianqian. No way? Who is the young man beside her? Why are they holding hands? It's Lin Wen from the Colored Jade sect. My God, he is with Qin Qianqian. Damn, there is no justice. A flower stuck in cow dung. Waves of voices surged out like a tide, and in an instant, countless martial artists had gathered around. All kinds of gossip came from time to time. Feeling the envious and jealous gazes around him, Lin Feng smiled casually. If looks could kill, he would have died thousands of times by now. Without a doubt, his relationship with Qin Qianqian would spread throughout the green smoke city in an instant. But did it matter? This was the truth. Listen, they are all feeling indignant for you, Lin Feng said with a smile. Humph, I don't care about those people. Qin Qianqian raised her nose and held Lin Feng's hand tighter. Looking at Lin Feng, her eyes were full of sweetness. Qianqian only likes Lin De Go. Let's go. Lin Feng smiled faintly. To be honest, he quite liked Qin Qianqian's bold personality. She was straightforward and not pretentious. Yes. Qin Qianqian smiled sweetly. This sweetness instantly broke the hearts of the surrounding cultivators. As the two of them turned into rays of light and left as if they didn't see anything, everyone couldn't help but sigh and sigh with regret. The Feng family. Ha ha, ha 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 ha. Feng Tianxing laughed happily. Father, why are you so happy? Feng and I asked curiously. Suddenly, her eyes brightened. Right, today is the day the green smoke secret domain closes. Could it be, yes, Lin Wen is back? Feng Tianxing squinted and smiled. Not only did he come back safe and sound, but he also brought back a beauty. Many people saw Lin Wen and Qin Qianshan holding hands and coming out of the green smoke secret domain unscathed. So, Fang Ni's eyes brightened. Fang Tianxing's eyes twinkled. If I'm not wrong, that old fox Lu Zhen suffered a double loss this time. Now, I'm afraid he's going crazy. Fang Tianxing laughed. The Lu family. What did you say? Lu Zhen widened his eyes, which were as big as copper bells. Yes, Lin Wen is still alive. Not only that, but… Lu Long's face was gloomy, and his one eye was deeply twisted. Speak. Lu Zhen gritted his teeth and shouted. Lu Long looked at Lu Zhen and said slowly, Many people saw Lin Wen and Qin Qianshan holding hands and showing their sweetness. It's true. It's true. Lu Zhen murmured. His face changed greatly. Lin Wen was still alive. Didn't that mean Lai Hu is back? Lu Zhen widened his eyes and said in surprise. Lu Long shook his head with a gloomy face. Not only Lai Hu, but also Hu Pao and the young patriarch. Bang! Lu Zhen slumped in his chair, his face full of fear. He knew better than anyone that the green smoke secret domain would close for 2 months. There would be no difference in time. Now, a full 6 hours had passed. But Lu Bao hadn't come back yet. No, impossible. Bao'er will be fine. LV Ning's expression was blank, completely stupefied. He only had one son, Lu Bao, and he had always loved him dearly. Hu Pao could die, and even Lai Hu could die. But, it's okay. Nothing will happen, Lu Zhen murmured with a faint smile, his expression strange. He seemed to be comforting himself, but his body was constantly trembling and his eyes were full of fear. Lu Zhen looked at Lu Long, the corner of his mouth twitching. He smiled and said, Lu Long, tell me that Bao'er is fine. Bao'er is still alive, right? Lu Long was a little dazed. He had never seen his big brother like this. Tell me that Bao'er is still alive, right? Lu Zhen's hands became claws, grabbing Lu Long's shoulders and roaring. Lu Long's face was strange as he said, Yes, yes. The young patriarch might have been delayed in the green smoke secret domain. Patriarch, please wait for a while. Maybe there will be good news. Yes. It must be so. Lu Zhen nodded with a smile and let go of his hands. Seeing his big brother like this, Lu Long felt a knot in his heart and his heart trembled. In the past, no matter what happened in the clan, he had never seen his big brother like this. But this time, sigh. Lu Long sighed in his heart. I hope the young patriarch is fine. Otherwise… Lu Long's gaze changed. He did not dare to look at Lu Zhen. He really did not know what his big brother would do when the time came. Reflection Tower, 7-star suite. The rent for 60 days in the green smoke secret domain was 60 soul spirit coins. The room price of 1 soul spirit coin per day did not seem like much, but a cultivator's cultivation was often calculated in months or years. It was not a small sum. But, regardless of whether it was for Lin Feng or Qin Qianshan, 60 soul spirit coins was just a drop in the ocean. It was a small sum. Look, Lin De Go. Qin Qianshan smiled sweetly. He took out a stone the size of a fist. It had green stripes on it and it looked very strange. Oh! Lin Feng's eyes flashed. Is this what you picked up in the green smoke secret domain? Yes, the green smoke stone. This is worth 1 soul spirit coin. Qin Qianshan smiled. My luck is pretty good, right, Lindigo? So many people have found nothing in the green smoke secret domain. We just happened to pass by and picked up a small piece. Lin Feng took the green smoke stone curiously. It was a dark green color with tiny stripes. When he touched it carefully, he could feel a strange energy. It was very familiar. This… Lin Feng was instantly shocked. What's wrong, Lin De Go? Qin Qianshan pursed her cherry lips and asked curiously. Lin Feng's eyes were bright. In an instant, his right hand flashed, and a green striped stone fell into his hand. The moment the striped stone appeared, it emitted a shocking energy. Upon closer inspection, It was exactly the same as the green smoke stone. However, the density and quantity of the energy it contained were far superior. Star Stone. Qin Qianqian was surprised. First chapter. Xiao Xiao's condition has not been good recently. However, there are still so many readers who have been supporting her. They have given her gifts, monthly tickets, and subscriptions. I am really grateful. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 501. Star Stone. Lin Feng was surprised. What's that? He curiously looked at the green striped stone, which was emitting a strange energy. Its full name is Star Stone. Qin Qianqian smiled sweetly. It's a stone that contains star power. As he spoke, Qin Qianqian raised the green smoke stone in his hand and waved it. Look, big brother Lin. The green smoke stone is actually a type of star stone. It's just that the energy it contains is too little. Star stones can be absorbed with just a bit of star power. The absorption speed is very fast. It's determined by the strength of the body. It's very popular in the Yanling prefecture. Qin Qianqian touched the green striped stone and said, the energy contained in this star stone is worth at least tens of thousands of soul spirit coins. Lin Feng nodded. He didn't expect that the strange stone he got in the first secret realm was worth several 5-star spirit treasures. What he lost on the swings, he gained on the swings. Wait, absorption speed determined by the strength of the body? So Lin Feng's eyes lit up. In other words, I can absorb star stones even if I haven't learned star power? And yes, Lin De Go. Qin Qianqian smiled. This is the value of star stones. In the Yanling prefecture, there are many level 10, level 11 and level 12 star sea states who haven't learned star power. They're all buying star stones to increase their power, hoping to reach the Star Lord state one day. But there's only a few who succeed. Lin Feng nodded. It wasn't easy to reach the Star Lord state. Not to mention other things, just the 10th level of the Star Force would require the absorption of countless star stones. This was a sky-high price. Tens of thousands of soul spirit coins. It's not bad to sell it. Lin Feng smiled. It was equivalent to a few 5-star immortal fruit. Although soul spirit coins weren't necessary, it was troublesome to not have basic necessities. Qin Qianqian shook her head and said, No, I can't sell it. Star stones were priceless, and they couldn't be bought even if one wanted to. Lin De Gu, you haven't tried it yet. Absorbing star stones to increase your strength is much faster than using the star fusion art to comprehend and cultivate. Lin Feng's eyes brightened. With that said, a golden light flashed in Qin Qianqian's hand, and he took out a thin, glittering crystal card. For you, Lin De Gu. Qin Qianqian handed it over, and Lin Feng took it. It felt cool and warm to the touch. It was made from a very special material. Lin Feng couldn't help but ask curiously, This is? Qin Qianqian smiled sweetly. The gold card of the Qin Chamber of Commerce can be used in all the cities in the Yanling prefecture. There are 100,000 soul coins stored inside. However, Qianqian had spent more than 10,000 soul coins and now she had more than 80,000 soul coins left. They're all yours, Lin De Gu. Lin Feng froze for a moment, then burst into laughter. He had only said it casually, but he did not expect Qin Qianqian to take it seriously. I didn't expect Qianqian to be a little rich woman. Lin Feng said casually. It's the pocket money Daddy gave me. Qin Qianqian stuck out her tongue. However, Qianqian likes to eat immortal fruits, so I used a lot. Lin Feng smiled and suddenly remembered the first time he met Qianqian. At that time, she had spent a lot of money to buy a 3-star immortal fruit, Orange Ruteo. At that time, the surrounding martial artists were all scared silly. Here. Lin Feng handed the gold card back to Qin Qianshan and said with a smile, "Take it back." "Ah, Lindigo, you can keep it. It's okay." Qin Qianshan still thought that Lin Feng couldn't bring himself to lose face, so she quickly explained, "Qianshan doesn't mean anything else, but Qianshan's everything is yours, Lindigo." The last sentence was as soft as a mosquito's, and Qin Qianshan's little face blushed. Lin Feng smiled faintly. He could feel the beauty's intentions. "Take it. I don't lack money," Lin Feng said with a smile. Then, he picked up the green striped stone and put it into his arms. "I won't sell it." Then, Qin Qianshan pursed her lips and said with a smile, "Then I'll keep it for Lindigo." Lin Feng said softly, He didn't reject Qin Qianshan's good intentions. No matter what, it was still a token of her sincerity. However, Lin Feng looked at the beautiful Qin Qianshan in front of him with bright eyes. She didn't seem to be an ordinary disciple of the fierce Yin sect. Just from her words and actions, it was obvious that Qin Qianshan was most likely born in a rich family. She could easily take out 100,000 soul spirit coins. In the Yenling mansion, this was quite impressive. "Lu family. Go and find it. All of you, go and find it." Lu Jin roared crazily. The martial artists below were all trembling with fear. They had never seen their patriarch so angry. His appearance was like that of a demon that had returned from hell. It was truly frightening. "Are all of you King deaf?" Lu Jin's right hand swept fiercely, and the wine glasses on the table suddenly broke into pieces. The sound of the glass shattering echoed in every martial artist's heart. They were all horrified and terrified. No one dared to speak. No one dared to provoke their patriarch, who was in a state of madness. "Only, all of you leave." Lu Long frowned and waved his hand. In a split second, the martial artists retreated as if they had been pardoned. Only Lu Bu and Lu Long were left in the spacious hall. Their rapid breathing caused the air to become tense and congealed. "Big brother." Lu Long sighed softly. He didn't know what to say. "Seventh brother, help me." Lu Jin clenched his teeth. His eyes flashed with a fierce light. It was an expression of desperation. Lu Jin's eyes were full of murderous intent. Lu Long's body trembled. He hadn't heard this name for a long time. He knew what his big brother was thinking, but, "Think carefully, big brother," Lu Long advised, "that Lin Wen and Qin Qianshan have a close relationship, regardless of his identity or whether he is related to the Li Yan school. With Qin Qianshan by his side, we can't make a move. If we hurt this little princess of the Qin family, not only will the Li Yan school not let us go, the Qin Chamber of Commerce will also destroy our power." "So what?" Lu Jin's eyes were fierce. Unlike his usual timid and cautious appearance, Lu Jin no longer had any scruples. Once a person threw caution to the wind, they were not even afraid of death. What was there to be afraid of? "Seventh brother, I want you to do it yourself," Lu Jin said coldly. "I don't trust anyone else. In the Lu family, the only one I trust is you. Take my token. You will be in charge of the tyrannical dragon and fierce tiger group. You must kill Linwen. If he is alive, I want to see him. If he is dead, I want to see his corpse." Lu Long frowned and hesitated, then the elders, "Don't worry, I will stop those old bastards." Lu Jin said coldly, "I will take care of the whole thing. I won't make it difficult for you." "Good. Big brother." Lu Long's eyes were bright. "Bao is also my nephew. Indeed, we cannot let him die in vain. I will accept this mission, but what about Qin Qianshan?" Lu Jin's eyes were full of killing intent. He coldly spat out a word, "Kill!" Reflection Tower, 7-star suite. Returning to Green Smoke City, Lin Feng did not want to leave for the time being. 2 months had passed from the agreed-upon half a year. There was still plenty of time. Qin Qianshan was even more indifferent. He was eager to spend every day with Lin Feng alone. After all, returning to the Li Yen school, he was not so free and unfettered. In the training hall, the two sat across from each other, comprehending and absorbing star energy. One was wrapped in golden light, absorbing and strengthening his body through the light spots below his neck. The other was surrounded by red light, frantically absorbing star energy through the wooden staff in his hand. Each person had one astral treasure. However, looking at the thickness of that golden light, it was clearly slightly inferior to the red light. Although Qin Xianshan's star condensation art was stronger, as a medium, the wooden staff was much stronger than the tears of time and space. Even so, Qin Xianshan was already overjoyed. Although she could not control the tears of time and space, her cultivation speed had greatly increased. Astral treasures were extremely precious. Phew! Lin Feng exhaled softly and opened his eyes. After cultivating for 6 hours, the increase in star energy was extremely weak. The path from the 4th level to the 5th level was very far. Although he had the help of the wooden staff, compared to the cultivation realm, this place was far inferior. No wonder Duo said that it would take about 100 years to reach the Star Lord level from the Star Sea level, Lin Feng thought to himself. At this moment, he understood even more. And that was under Duo's guidance, and with the help of the Netherworld ship. If he were to cultivate like this, the time would probably be doubled. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Let's take it slow. Lin Feng nodded. Cultivation should be done step by step, but he could not rush it. Right, why don't I try the star stone? Lin Feng's eyes lit up. According to Qianshan, the absorption of star stones was extremely fast, but he did not know how fast it was. Even more curious, Lin Feng immediately took out the green star stone. A powerful energy immediately entered his heart with a familiar feeling. Lin Feng's eyes glittered. He touched the star stone with his right hand and controlled the star energy. In an instant, as if a spring had flowed into his heart, the door was opened with a bang. Lin Feng's eyes widened. An extremely powerful star energy passed through the star stone and with his right hand as the axis, crazily poured in like a flood breaking a dam. Fast. It was extremely fast. The star energy was crazily poured into his body. Lin Feng felt his body become heavy all of a sudden. Every inch of his skin and every cell was filled with the power of the star power. At this moment, the ball of star energy in the center of the human soul was spinning at its limit. Every time it spun, the human soul would exhale and absorb the star energy from the 5 meridians, forming a mist that entered the human soul and the ball of star energy. It turned into the purest energy, crazily absorbing. So fast. It's really fast. Lin Feng found it unbelievable. His eyes widened rapidly. His body was improving at a speed visible to the naked eye. His cells kept dividing and strengthening, and his skin became tougher. The ball of star energy in the human soul was also improving at an astonishing speed. It's comparable to the cultivation in the cultivation state. No, it's even better. Lin Feng's face was full of surprise and disbelief. No wonder Qianshan said that the star stone was priceless in the Yanling prefecture and was sought after by many star sea level experts. Sell it? Lin Feng suddenly laughed and secretly blamed himself for his childish thoughts. This kind of treasure, let alone tens of thousands of soul coins, he would not sell it even if it was several times more. Only the improvement of strength was the right way to go. I'm in such a bad state. There are always a few days every month. Haha, please forgive me. Today I will give you the first chapter. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 502. The strength of the body determined the absorption speed. It wasn't about the level of strength. Lin Feng didn't know that if a level 4-star C-state martial artist cultivated like him, their absorption speed would probably be less than a quarter of his. Dual cultivation made Lin Feng's body stronger than ordinary people. A level 4-star C-state body was comparable to a level 6-star C-state body. It not only allowed him to unleash his combat power to the extreme, but the absorption of star power was also quite impressive. As expected, the increase in star stones improves the body much more than the increase in star power. It's almost twice as much, Lin Feng murmured as his eyes lit up. As he kept absorbing star stones, he naturally knew the improvement of his body like the back of his hand. It was ingrained in his heart. This is good. The stronger the body, the stronger my combat power. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. His star level had just reached level 4. Even if he absorbed star stones, he was still far from breaking through. However, in terms of strength, from level 4 to level 5, it was only the last one-third of the way. If he cultivated normally, the speed would naturally be slow. But now, after absorbing star stones, his body's improvement speed was terrifying. It was twice as fast as when he was in the cultivation realm. The breakthrough was just around the corner. Fang Estate. Dad, the Lu family has started to move. Fang Ni's eyes flashed. Lu Zhen, this old fox, can't hold it in. Fang Tianxing laughed. We guessed right. Lin Wen must have killed the only son of the Lu family in the Green Smoke secret realm. Otherwise, this old fox wouldn't have lost his mind in anger. Humph, he deserves it. Fang Ni scolded coldly. Third brother's death can finally be avenged. The Fang family kicked an iron plate this time. Fang Tianxing said indifferently, Lu Zhen probably didn't expect Lin Wen and Qin Qianshan to be so close. All the warriors of the Liu family who entered the Green Smoke mystery domain will be wiped out. Even someone as strong as Lai who will not be able to escape death. Fang Ni smiled. Lin Wen and Qin Qianshan don't have this strength alone, but the Qin family is different. The Qin Chamber of Commerce covers the entire Yanling estate. Although the Qin family keeps a low profile, their strength is unfathomable. This is a great opportunity for us. Fang Tianxing's eyes were sharp. Dad, what should we do now? Fang Ni asked. Inform Lin Wen that after the battle in the Green Smoke secret realm, you should have gained his trust. Fang Tianxing said with a serious face, it's a win-win situation. If we win Lin Wen over, it's the same as winning over Qin Qianshan. By that time, with the Qin Chamber of Commerce as our backing, the Fang family will be in trouble. Yes, father. Fang Ni replied. In Green Smoke City, both open and covert struggles began to intensify. The Fang clan and the Lu clan were both moving in silence. Many allied powers were roped in, and a storm was about to break out in Green Smoke City. However, the culprit was still cultivating in seclusion. Hua! Lin Feng crazily absorbed the star stones. Once he entered into a state of cultivation, he forgot to eat or sleep. He threw everything to the back of his mind. Seeing that his sweetheart was so diligent in her training, Qin Qianshan naturally didn't dare to be negligent. The man and woman stayed in a small training hall and didn't take a step out as they trained with all their might. Day after day passed. One did not know how long one cultivated. To a martial artist, it might only be an instant. The green striped stone's color gradually dimmed as the days passed. The star power was absorbed, and the star stones gradually became mediocre. In the blink of an eye, a month passed. During this month, Lin Feng didn't stop for even a second. As the star stones lost their luster, like candles that had been burned out, Lin Feng's body finally welcomed another opportunity to break through. His martial artist level had increased. Hua! Dazzling starlight descended. It was the gift of the starry sky. The intense red starlight shone, but compared to the star power he absorbed, it was negligible. His body grew rapidly, his skin transformed, his bones and his cells strengthened once again. Intense star power poured into his limbs and 5 meridians, filling him with extreme power. The red starlight twined around him. Feeling his new body, Lin Feng's eyes suddenly brightened. Ha! Lin Feng clenched his fists tightly. The starlight gradually dimmed, and in the blink of an eye, it was absorbed into his body. Lin Feng stood up, feeling a strong and powerful force. A faint smile appeared on his face. He had broken through. His senses of the surrounding auras became even more sensitive. However, his body became lighter, and the surrounding qi was dense and condensed. He could touch it with his hand. Star Sea State, Level 5. In terms of body alone, it was comparable to a Level 7 Star Sea State War God. It's done. Lin Feng nodded enthusiastically. The current him was a completely different person compared to half a year ago. With Level 5 Star Sea State power, he could do whatever he wanted in Green Smoke City. Most importantly, this time, when I enter the chaotic swamp again, I won't run away pathetically. Lin Feng's eyes deepened. That day, the strongest of the Go Mang Wu tribe that chased after him, he thought it was a peak Star Sea State. However, after truly understanding the Star Sea State, he realized that it was only a Level 8 Star Sea State. With his current strength, he could definitely fight it. However, the Spirit Chi Cave is blocked. They might not be there. Lin Feng nodded. Nostalgia flashed in his eyes. Thinking about the days when he, Xian Er, Qi Yang, and Qi Yu fought side by side, he was quite happy. After all, those were the days when he first entered the Douling world. And now, after rescuing Xian Er and the rest, I'll head to Li Yan's sect. Lin Feng's plan was very clear. If he was hesitant about joining Li Yan's sect before, there was no more hesitation now. Because what he was worried about was simply groundless. Joining Li Yan's sect was not tied to this boat. It was just a stepping stone. Gang, sect, family. Lin Feng thought to himself. In the Douling world, the forces could be roughly divided into these 3 categories. Among them, gangs were the most free. They could come and go as they pleased. All kinds of bandit groups, bandits, and mercenary groups were actually branches of gangs. Sects were generally divided into classes. A martial artist could not only join one sect in his lifetime. In fact, sects did not restrict martial artists from joining a second sect, but the prerequisite was passing the apprenticeship test. In the case of Li Yan's sect, the apprenticeship test was divided into 2 levels. The primary apprenticeship test was to reach the Star Sea level and comprehend the astral power. They could roam freely in the Douling world, such as Ji Xia and Qin Chanqian. As for the advanced apprenticeship test, once passed, they would be beyond the sect rules and no longer subject to any restrictions. As long as they did not do anything that would endanger the sect would treat them as VIP, and their names would be forever recorded. As for the family, it was much stricter than the sect. But, actually, it's just a framework. Lin Feng thought to himself. No matter how strong the family's control is, once a martial artist's strength is out of control, he can still be free and do whatever he wants. Contracts and promises were useless. In the Douling world, strength determined everything. Oh, Fang and I wants to see me? Lin Feng's eyes flickered. Yes, Miss Fang has been here more than 10 times. She wants to see you. Aning smiled. Let her come. Lin Feng nodded. He did not have a bad impression of Fang and I. In fact, before entering the Green Smoke secret realm, it was her who reminded him. Strictly speaking, Fang and I also had a purpose, but he did owe her a favor. If she had not told him, he might not have known who the mastermind behind the scenes was. Lin Wen, you are really a busy man. Fang and I walked over with graceful steps, swaying gracefully. Her luxurious clothes accentuated her mature charm. Lin Feng smiled. Miss Fang, please have a seat. Fang and I sat down elegantly and said with a smile, It's usually just me waiting. I don't want to see you every time. My neck is sore from waiting. Her joking words narrowed the distance between them. Fang and I glanced at Lin Feng, her beautiful eyes flashing. This should be your lover, right? She did not mention his name, but Fang Ni's words made Qin Qianshan blush, but he was very happy in his heart. Lin Feng smiled faintly. He neither admitted nor denied it. He looked at Miss Fang in front of him with burning eyes, secretly praising her. With just a few words, Qin Qianshan was overjoyed. He was indeed worthy of being the helmsman of the Fang family. By the way, thank you for your reminder last time, Miss Fang. Lin Feng smiled and nodded, expressing his gratitude. It's no trouble. Fang and I smiled. If you want to make friends, you have to show your sincerity. Lin Wen, you won't doubt me this time, right? Lin Feng's eyes brightened. Miss Fang, please speak frankly. Fang and I said softly. Then I won't beat around the bush and get straight to the point. Fang and I said seriously, her eyes burning. According to the report, the Liu family wants to attack you. The strongest person in the Liu family, Liu Long, has already gathered the violent dragon and fierce tiger group. As soon as you leave Green Smoke City. As she spoke, Fang and I slowly glanced at Qin Qianshan and said, including everyone around you, kill them all. How dare they? Qin Qianshan was so angry that his face turned red. Qianshan, Lin Feng said slowly. Qin Qianshan pursed his lips and sat down with a pout. Looking at the two, Fang Ni's eyes flickered. With her experience, she could see the clues. But she didn't expect Lin Wen to control Qin Qianshan so well. Rumor has it that Qin Qianshan is unruly and capricious. Lin Wen is really something. Fang and I looked at Lin Wen with admiration. Lin Wen was more powerful than she had imagined. Lin Wen must have some skills to be able to control Qin Qianshan. So, what do you want me to do? Lin Feng looked at Fang and I and asked slowly. There was no such thing as a free lunch in the world. Fang and I had been tipping him off. Obviously, she was up to something. Lin Wen, you're really straightforward. Fang and I smiled. Her beautiful eyes glanced at Qin Qianshan and said, my father hopes that you can temporarily join the Fang family to deal with the Liu family together. It's a win-win situation. This way, not only will you be safe, but you can also vent the frustration in your heart. Lin Feng looked at Fang and I. From the way she looked at Qin Qianshan, he understood something. It seems Qianshan's background is quite powerful. Lin Feng thought. Fang and I wouldn't make such a big deal out of him if he was alone. Her attitude was much more respectful than the first time. I appreciate Miss Fang's kindness. Lin Feng nodded. I'll deal with whatever comes my way. If the Liu family dares to come, I'll take them on. With that, Lin Feng stood up slowly and smiled. Thank you for your information, Miss Fang. I'll definitely return the favor if I have the chance. You're welcome. Fang and I stood up and smiled. She glanced at Qin Qianshan and saw his angry expression. She had achieved her goal. In that case, I'll take my leave. Fang and I bowed slightly. See you later. Lin Feng nodded. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote. Your support is my biggest motivation. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.